Jesus, these guys.
And we're gonna hit the button, hit the button, hit the button, hit the button, hit the button. There's no D-batch in the background saying hit the button.
Hit the button.
What's going on? What's going on, guys? It's Dealer back again with another RDX podcast. It's been a week. We had holiday stuff happening, but we are glad to be back. We've already got almost 300 waiting on us to start. Sorry, we're a little bit late, but I've got to turn this. What the hell's going on here? So yeah, thank you guys for joining us, man. Honestly, we got to do some introductions. We'll get some shout outs. We got a ton of great topics. A little bit rusty here, so forgive me. We were on Boom's channel earlier, though, so I kind of shook a little bit of that off. But we got a special guest, of course, and the usual suspects. D-Batch is running a little bit late. But let's start with some introductions. We'll do a little different. Colt's trying to figure out his mic. Zalker, how you been, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to be here. New Year coming at, like 6 hours, whatever the hell it is from now. Darge Night is already in the 2020s from the future. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's been too long, 2 weeks. I missed the chat, miss you guys. And the holidays have kind of fucked everything up, man. Honestly.
I know. We almost kind of didn't do it today because like New Year's Eve, people are doing their own thing and this and that. But again, the fact that there's already 400 people here is I was really wrong. And again, appreciate everyone who showed up to rock out with us over New Year's Eve. We just didn't want to miss 3 shows out of the month. It's not very consistent at all. I mean, there's so many people that we love talking to in the chat and stuff and kind of getting things out there. So, again, thanks for checking us out. Fonzarelli, thanks for joining us again, brother. Good to have you back. Good to have another show. How you been?
Yeah, I've been great. Finally put a video out after, 2-3 months.
500 years,
feels good. Feels good. But we're back to celebrate this RDX tonight. Especially, this will be not only the last of the year, but the last of the decade. So
Man,
it's going to be a great.
You just made this shit seem way more important than it is.
It's fucking epic.
Yeah, holy fuck. Yeah,
it's important, damn
it. Colt, you got your mic sorted? Nope. All right. Hey, xCloud Tim Dog, you there, brother? Tim's out and about. He made the show, but he's out mobile right now.
Yes, I am. I am here. Party in about an hour and 45 minutes, so I will be here for that time. Yeah, it's been a crazy bunch of weeks ever since I got a phone call from dealer at like 10:30 at night on a Saturday asking me about 10 teraflops of navi, and from there it's been a windstorm, and holidays were great.
Yeah,
happy New Year to everyone, and glad that we can close out the year on the best Xbox talk show going.
Talk show, holy shit! Something else that may elevated everything. We've also got So Shady, man. Thanks for joining us. Good to have you back on New Year's Eve, the last show of the year, man.
Or guess who's back again.
So don't do that shit again. No,
don't tell a friend. No, dead serious, tell your friend, man. Tell everybody. This is the last show of the decade. Of course, Dealer had to reach out and grab the biggest persona in the community, but he got me instead. You got me. What are you going to do about it? I can't wait to talk games, man. I appreciate the reach out. I can't wait to do this. It's going to be fantastic. So much news, so much salt. And, it's been a hell of a year in gaming. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Cut his mic.
Cut his mic. No, it should be a great show. For those wondering, this is World War Z footage with myself, Lethal, of course, Obi-Wan, and Darge Knight. And Zalker, no, he probably played this on PC, so he wasn't here in this footage. But we wish Zalker was here. He just wasn't around for that. He just wasn't around.
First of all, I went through this whole game with you, you fuck face, on Xbox, you fuck.
Yeah,
the whole thing with you, carried you.
I know. Again, D-Batch. Hey, Colt's back? Okay, Colt.
Is that him?
Introduce
yourself. Is this normal? Colt. Is this like what it normally should sound like?
Yes, better, yes.
Yeah, okay. You sound like a bitch. Go ahead.
So I was going to treat myself to a wireless headset while I use the podcast stuff, and no, Windows doesn't have anything to do with that. So here I am, wired into my computer. Yeah, it's New Year's Eve.
It's a little better, yeah.
A little bit, you know what?
It just sounds like you could be right up on it, but you're good. You're good.
I mean, I'm like making
wrap your mouth around it.
Now.
There you go. Yeah, clip that. So yeah,
anyway,
thanks for joining us last show of the year, Colt.
Yeah, it's we'll just keep doing this over and over, right?
Well, either way, we do have a lot of people waiting on us to get into things, and I do have to give a shout out to Tryhard Fan, who says, this is my first time ever using Super Chat. You've earned it. Thank you so much, man. Do appreciate it. My first Super Chat was Randall Thor. Deviator X says, sup, guys. 2020 right around the corner. I can't wait for the show. And for those, the comments are going to be epic, Deviator. That's all I got to say about that. We got a ton of great stuff to talk about. Colt, you are still there, right? You didn't cut out all the way? All right, so Colt did cut. I had a feeling Colt did cut out all the way.
It's okay. The most talented is here.
D-Batch.
Oh, you made it.
D-Batch, what's going on, brother? Thanks for joining us.
I'm chilling, man. It's good to be here. New Year's Eve. I avoided the in-laws for the time being. I gotta say, we got a lot of topics today, man. I'm glad we're actually doing a show this week. There's so much stuff in the news, and what perfect time to do it than New Year's Eve, man.
Well, I mean, there's a lot better times to do it than New Year's Eve, but I hear you. The enthusiasm is great. And two, I got to give a shout out to over 500 people watching us already, guys. Hit that like button. Let's try to smash 500 for the show, 1,000 after the fact. Tim convinced me we should just raise that number from the beginning. That'd be great and ideal for everyone. So, well, over 600 people, almost 700 watching. So, yeah. Again, guys, thank you for what you do. You power the show. Let's get into some shout outs. We got some topics. So we will start with Johnny Virtuous. We got Foreign Object, Teo, John Blue. Shout out to you, buddy. Darth Chaos. All these people. Pryton, the Bad Boy Live. What's going on, buddy? We've also got Beck Boss. Deviator X is in the super chat. Obi-Wan FTW, who's a moderator. Tasteless Genie. Scout Trooper 74. Centurion 1307. Real Deal Neil. We've also got Suicide King, Michael Bowen, Guillermo Cavillo, Chanagram, Wilmy Hood, Forkboy Gaming, Naughty Nubbin, Alfonso Hogan, A Squad Gaming. Check him out, Slim73 and Mo Cool Kid. All you guys, thank you so much for what you do. I'll be updating that list soon. PS5, we're going to start with this. I usually say to let people stream in, but we're going to start with this anyway. CES, there are some things going around about Sony revealing a glimpse of the future at CES. Microsoft surprised everybody at the Game Awards. And to add to that, Corey Barlog is apparently going to be there as well. What does this mean, D-Batch? What are you getting from this?
I think they're gonna give us some tidbits on the PlayStation 5. I think they have no choice. I don't know if they initially planned to do this because when they're doing their reveal events and the consoles coming out the same year, usually they do it in February. But with the Game Awards that happened and the Xbox Series X that was revealed, that's all gamers have been talking about. They've been talking about the Xbox Series X, and they have pretty much the majority of console gamers' mindshare at the very moment. Yeah. So I think Sony wants to come out and kind of counteract that. Plus, I think we're going to get some details at CES on the next generation Navi, of course. And this will tie into the consoles as well. So it's probably a good time to reveal that information. And CES is huge. Like, CES is basically, the tech world's equivalent to E3. So CES is freaking huge.
Yeah. By the way, Luca dropping by to show some support. Thank you so much. Guys, the super chats are getting a little crazy and hard to keep up with, honestly. Not that it's a bad thing, but I'll just be honest. If I don't read it, it's not on purpose. It's just hard to keep up and run a show and do all the stuff. So, again, we'll try to get to them all. But if I miss one, it's not. Just let me know that you did it. If I miss it.
They're saying Happy New Year, all that stuff, man. It's really cool. It's
well, Zachary says fuck all you and generalize all of it.
Jackal, Ron B, Shane Tomlin, all these people. They're all saying Happy New Year and everything. It's they're being really cool.
Awesome. So,
Happy New Year to you guys.
Thanks
too.
for keeping up with that, Zachary.
I got you, bitch.
And shout out to
Yeah.
Hey, Colt, are you back? God damn it, Colt. See, this is what he wanted for you guys, for him to not be here the last episode of the year. He's doing all this on purpose. So yeah, I mean, CES, it really does seem like Sony are going to be there and they're going to be showing something off. I'm not really exactly quite sure. You think they're going to take all 9.2 teraflops out there and just plop them out on the stage? What do you think?
I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest, because this is what been like the history, right? Is that Xbox will announce something, it'll get hype, and then Sony will be like, yeah, bitch, and they'll throw something out to like kill that hype. And they had nothing after the Xbox Series X. Mm-hmm. They didn't show shit. Like, and Xbox went ham at the award show, right? They showed Hellblade. They showed that. They showed Gears Tactics. I know people don't really care, but like 40-hour campaign, that game looks massive. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what Sony's doing. I don't know. Maybe they're kind of, I wouldn't say retooling, like where they're changing the specs, but I think they're kind of changing how they're going to present this console. I think
Right.
that might be happening where they present it in a certain way so it looks a little different and better.
You're
for
saying
the,
they're going to angle it differently and be like, look, we can process 3,000 more knacks on screen than before.
Yeah.
yeah, like I think they're going to try to do something different because let's be honest, people. This Xbox Series X launch was fucking almost flawless. Like it was great. Like it revealed, it has hype. It still has hype. People are still talking about it. That's all anybody's talking about right now. And so, what is Sony going to do? They kind of have to just chill and announce shit on their own. And
Shane wants you to stop telling him to go down below at the end of every video.
No, Shane, I'll do what I want. You'll go down below when I tell you to go down below.
Oh, that's all right, Bill Cosby. So basically, Zucker, I think you're right. They will definitely try to that's the thing about the PS5, right? Everyone's so confident, but as we've talked about over and over, like Sony have said nothing about the performance being better than anything, right? There was one job listing where they redacted it and got rid of the wording there that would have told us anything about the performance of the system, but otherwise they have told us nothing compared to its competition. Shady, what do you think they're going to do at CES? Are they going to talk about, well, nobody's probably going to talk about T-flops unless they got to, but what do you think overall they're going to pull off there?
I'd be surprised, like shocked actually, if we actually got to see the system. I think we're just going to see the heads of the PlayStation Zealot Nation unveil for the first time to the world the new narrative leading into next gen. And that's what it's going to be, is just however they're going to try and spin it to make everyone hyped for the console. Could be the truth, might not. It'll be definitely be smoke and mirrors. It's Sony's style. They're going to come up with something else to get their fan base hyped as hell because straight up numbers, straight up titty flops, they're not going to get the job done this time around. And neither's probably resolution or frame rate or maybe even faster loads. They need something else. So I expect just a rollout of the new narrative that they expect everyone to get in line and parrot for the next 5 years.
Now, Fonz, you're pretty in tune with the community. What do you expect these guys to turn to, if not, and we already know, right? Behind the scenes, we already know power isn't it. They're not going to win the power crown. We've been telling these guys Anaconda's going to be quicker for forever. What do you think they're going to turn to is the thing? Maybe will they still rely on the old games thing or what?
Well, the question really remains.
Because right now they want power. I want to remind everybody. They want power now, even when these new rumors come out, but they haven't forever since the X was announced.
Yeah, but are they really going to talk about the PlayStation 5 at CES? I know this is pretty much like a big rumor based on them saying something about the future is coming or something. But I mean,
well, Barlog's going to be there too.
Yeah, I know. But typically at CES, they usually push their TVs and stuff. I mean, I'm not saying it's without question, that they couldn't do this, but I think with Corey Barlog being there, yeah, maybe they'll show something. But I tend to agree with Shady a bit on this, where I don't think that they're going to like flat out show the console itself. I think they're just going to talk about, what they are envisioning the future of gaming to be and that sort of stuff, and try to, push a narrative a certain way. I can totally see that. And, it's going to be what everybody runs with on that side of the community. What it will be, though, man, I have no idea. Because again, you're looking at, possibility of 12 T flops that people love to talk about versus 9.2, which I just don't care personally.
You do care. You do care.
I think the proof is in the pudding, though. I like what they do with these flops. If you whatever
did you like what they did with the X flops over the Pro flops?
Yes,
yeah,
but I also
like that,
but here's the thing. I also like what they did with games like God of War and Uncharted 4 with 1.8 flops. So, I mean, at the end of the day, these T flops to me mean nothing. It's the games themselves.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it really.
Now, we all know that the games are number one, but the games are going to be there, right? And we know that first party needs to do better with games. We've talked about the need for more AAA games for years, well before this whole negative trend started.
Well,
but at the end of the day, we're going to play a lot of multiplays too. That stuff matters.
If you want to talk about the overall power, I 100% agree that it all matters. But what we really were striving for or wanting as gamers is a better CPU. And that's what we're getting with these consoles. And I'm sure they're going to be very similar in that regard. So the extra T-flops in the GPU, sure, I think it can add some bells and whistles there. But, at the end of the day, it's the games. It's the games that really
I think it's the total. I think it's everything, man. That's the
I think
problem.
yeah.
Is people
I
feel
think
like they gotta choose. You don't have to choose. We demand better from Microsoft. They tell us certain things like, "Hey, we're giving teams more time, bigger budgets. We're expanding things. They got bigger games on the way." We are like,
Don't get
"Okay,
me wrong.
we're looking forward to that."
I mean, don't get me wrong though. When I look at a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 on the PS4 Pro and then look at it on my X, it's a big difference there, and it's nice to have. So
Or even if it is like just the games, I mean, Microsoft has what, 20 game development teams now, minimum. They got 15 studios, and how many of those have multiple teams? The games are coming. Each one of those teams could do one game only in the next 5 years, and they're still doing like 4 or 5 a year.
Who's doing Morse code?
It's going to be a staggering amount coming from first-party Microsoft next gen. Huge.
Yeah,
Well, I don't think-
honestly, we'll have to wait and see what the quality of some of these. But you're right. Right now, they're in a much better position to leverage software, and now they're doing power as well. That 12 teraflop number that motherfuckers are giving me shit for when I had talked about it weeks ago on a video. Even then, after Windows Central talked about it, and then Tom Warren, and then now finally Digital Foundry are saying it too. It's interesting because, same old people who never know shit or never know anything about this stuff, always questioning people.
Well, and it's not just that though. Like, so we're talking about like what the narrative is going to be, but to be honest, like at the beginning of every generation, the narrative is what is the console giving you? What is it? How does it play third party? The power. That's what it is. Every time the beginning of the generation. And I think Xbox, they fucking hit it on the head, man. They got their first party studios situated. They're still not even done, right? There's rumors of them in Poland, where we're going to talk about that later. There's like rumors of a lot of shit of them even expanding a lot of their first party developers. And that's good because after this generation starts, 2 or 3 years in is when more of those exclusive games are going to matter more. That's why Sony killed it, right? They had, God of War, Horizon, all these games came out, but they came out years after the PS4 came out.
Well,
And
let me
new
read this.
studios
Let
are
me
doing
read
it.
this real quick because I don't want to forget because Anthony Owens is like fucking, going hard right now, and I appreciate it, brother. With a $100 super chat, he says, with both systems, do you think they are basically going to allow mixed generational matchmaking? I absolutely do. They will all Xboxes will run on Xbox Live. They've even let you matchmake with people on cell phone in certain games. So yeah, I think that's their goal, is to connect those environments, and they actually do have APIs designed to make it easier for developers to allow crossplay like that. So yeah, you'll still be able to talk to your buddies on Xbox One and all that stuff.
I hope we can connect with other consoles too, like playing Call of Duty against Sony guys and PC guys. I love it. It's great. We get to
I
talk.
just want to say real quick, though, I think that there's no question in my mind that Xbox will have the power narrative. I think that they will have the most powerful console that comes out next year. But I think that along with that, what people have to realize, and we're going to get into this later because it's one of our topics, so I'm not really going to delve into this at all. I think it could be to their a huge benefit of to Xbox to come out with more power, only because of the situation that we will get into with the games that are coming or not coming, I should say, for one console. So
that'll be interesting. Yes. Colt, are you back? All right. Colt's having some weird issues. That's what happens when you try to go wireless, I guess. Colt's like, I'm fancy, and then his mic doesn't work. So
Zucker kind of hit it right on the nail when it's like the beginning of the gen is different than what people feel towards the end or the middle even. Whereas this time Xbox has the power. They claim that they're not going to be beat on price either. And then they've got Game Pass to offer day and date. So people are having hundreds of games right there, plus their entire backlog. Plus they can bring their second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 50th controllers they've already got with them. They don't have to buy all that stuff. Like, this is going to be probably the best new gen ever. Day one, you're gonna have more stuff to play. Your old stuff's gonna load better, play better. You can use your old Elite controller if you have one, your old controllers that you're fine with. You're not spending huge money outside of just that console. And as far as we know, that's just with Xbox.
I mean, you're looking at a launch shady with 3,500 games day one with backwards compatibility.
That's right, all improved. Like, they're going to load faster. They're going to play better. If there's a dynamic resolution, it's going to max out. If the frame rate ever stuttered, it's not going to anymore. Like,
but here's the thing. But the thing is, you're going to get that on both consoles.
You'll have PlayStation 4 back compatible. There's still guys playing 360 games, and they do look and play better already.
Hey, Fight Night Champion's still great on back compatible.
But I do have to also point out, though, that a lot of people that are naysaying the power narrative, they keep talking about how the power doesn't matter. These are the same guys that were saying that power only matters at the beginning of a generation. So take your pick. Which is it?
It's just like
Exactly.
it matters all gen, but to different degrees of importance, I guess, to the
Yeah.
enthusiasts.
Depending on
especially.
how
If you
long it
got the
takes the
box, you
software to
don't
get
care
there.
about it as much.
Well,
and-
and the other thing that I think that we're not really like, I understand that we were talking about like, oh, Sony's going to change the narrative. I mean, I understand that like usually people kind of like whatever Sony decides to do, people are like, that's what should be done. I get that. That's been throughout history, but I don't know. I have a weird feeling that the Xbox has never launched a console with Game Pass the way it is now. And they
Okay,
have a
you know,
whole
They've
year
never
to
done any of
revamp it
this shit,
and
really.
well,
you know?
no, they haven't done no, but what I'm saying is that they haven't done like Game Pass. Like I think like when they launch that console, the Series X, I think they're gonna fucking go ham with Game Pass. I think they're gonna show it a
okay.
lot. I think it's gonna be a big fucking reason why people buy the console. And I think that they're gonna do that. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, you can play all these games, right? Like we've said, but they haven't really honed in on that for the casual person. Like I
Well,
think
something just
next
hit
year
me
they're
right
gonna do
now.
that.
You know,
Something
the
just hit me right
Cyberpunk
now
rumor
based
going
on-
into Game Pass. Oh, sorry, Fonz. I was
that
going to say,
one?
like,
Oh.
everyone thinks Cyberpunk's coming. Not at launch. What if the new gen, which launches 6 months later, that's when it goes into Game Pass, all gussied
Yeah,
up for the new gen, and
Yeah,
everyone's got a month or 3 in the box on the day. Like, Game Pass is going to be the big driving force, I
Cole?
think.
yeah.
You don't have to buy Halo. You don't have to buy any of the other AA games that they launch, plus whatever third-party deals that they have in there. It's going to be
Yeah.
phenomenal.
All right,
But no,
all right,
here's the
hang
thing,
on. I
getting
gotta,
back to the
I gotta
topic
get
with
Colt back on this
5?
because I think Colt's
Oh.
alive.
I'm super pissed off.
All right. Well, you sound way better now, at least, right?
So finally, I went to the very bottom of Discord. Everything on my PC could detect my mic except for inside of the RDX chat. So I finally went into a setting and went all the way to the bottom and hit reset. And now it's back. Like I reinstalled Discord. I rebooted twice. I took my pants off, put them upside down, inside out, and backwards,
Mm-hmm. That
which is
fixed it,
really
clearly.
comfortable.
I have
Yeah.
But
pictures.
I mean, this is one of the reasons why I cannot use a PC as my main gaming place. Like when stuff like this happens, like
Because Discord sucks.
I start.
You literally just needed to go to settings and hit the default. Like legitimately, I didn't know that was the problem.
No, I already did that. It was way at the bottom. I had to reset all settings.
Well,
and that was like a last
Colt, we,
But anyway.
you know, like it,
I
it
heard-
is
I
the
heard
last show
some
of the
stuff.
year. I'm glad you're here.
Yes, and I heard some stuff that I couldn't say anything that Fonz was doing the whole thing about how the games matter. I just want to remind people that 2 games or 1 game a year does not make up all the difference in the world. If I've been hearing people on my last video about PS5 Power saying they are angry that they would rather pay $100 extra for a $500 PS5 if it meant it'll be more powerful and it can run
Yeah.
games at their absolute best. And that's because those guys know that they buy 10 to 30 games a year and they want all of them to look and play the best.
And
Not
if you look at the list, man, there's usually multiplats that they're playing too.
like Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac's going to be amazing. But that game's going to come out in like 2 years, maybe 3 years, or maybe a year and a half. Like,
What the
you
fuck?
can wait on that. But I mean, I own a lot of games on Xbox. I want all of my games to look the very best. And who was it that said Red Dead? I think Fonz even redeemed his comments. The Red Dead looks amazing on the X. Like, this is a big deal. And this is why PC guys going to buy a brand new graphics card.
Mm-hmm.
Power matters. It's a big deal. It's part of the whole package.
Yep. And we want both. Damn it! I gotta give a shout out to one of the best member names I've seen. Frost did that shit. Is now a member of the channel. If you're not a member, hit that join button next to the subscribe button. Thank you so much, guys. That helps a lot. You guys are awesome. What?
Okay, so if we're speculating that the PS5 may be their CES, that whole thing, it just hit me.
Not
because
necessarily the system, but some technical
Okay.
related stuff. Yeah.
But they're saying that the future is coming. That is their tagline there, and that's what it's got people thinking. What if this has something to do with maybe VR, and they're pushing a new tech for VR?
I don't know. It's just odd to have Barlog there. You know what I'm saying? Adam,
I don't know.
and by the way, I got
because I have heard that their VR is going to be amazing. And it's going to be wireless, revolutionary shit.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think that's a possibility at the CES show, especially. That's perfect.
I think it's a possibility, but at the same time, I think it is something PlayStation related because once again, it's looking like CES is going to be dominated by AMD. I know it's not on our topics, but some leaks came out today on the Navi 21 GPU, and it's apparently like twice as fast as the 5700 XT at like 20 teraflops. So that's just fucking bananas if it's true. And if they unleash something like that on the CES stage, yeah, it would make sense to talk about consoles at that point because I really think the consoles can't go too much into the specifications because they have to wait for AMD to go first. and show their hand on what they have on the PC side for the GPUs, and then the consoles can go. They can't release that information before AMD does. So I think possibly we're going to get a lot of RDNA 2 news at CES 2020, and that would be poised for the consoles to go ahead and blow their loads.
And
got a
can I
question.
say about
Jesus.
CES? Why does it matter that Corey Barlog is there? Like, was he there for the PS4?
Well,
stuff?
he's
Was he,
announcing
like-
it kind of. It's reminiscent of Jason Ronald talking about, hey, tune into VGAs, like that kind of thing a little bit. That just gives me that kind of feeling. Adam
Like, is Jim
Opentree.
Ryan going to be there?
Fuck Jim Ryan.
I-
Adam
also
Opentree. Adam
yeah.
Opentree says he thinks they'll show the design for the retail system. So that'll be pretty damn
Possible.
interesting.
People are
I don't
also
know.
to the conclusion that they're going to showcase the PS5 there. It's either the PS4 or the PS3. They had the same type of similar tagline, like come see the future, some shit like that. And they did show stuff regarding the
Find your
console.
next
I mean,
favorite
their
game.
marketing
That's-
team is insanely good. I mean, I remember when GT Sport commercials started to hit, and remember that GT6, the one before that, had 1,300 cars. GT Sport launched with like 100 and 150. And the commercial was literally saying racing games have become about collecting cars rather than driving. Damage controlling preemptively the fact that they had no fucking cars.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
their marketing team is pretty damn good at spinning stuff. Double Bear Gaming, thank you so much. He says, I want to return the favor for your $5 super chat earlier today. I did a super chat on Boom's channel earlier today and called Randall a fraud. Yeah, that was great.
Isn't Corey Balrog one of the
100%.
last few devs at Sony that hasn't jumped ship to the initiative? Woo! And I got a quick question, D. If Sony's VR headset is wireless, like it's on its own, would it need a PlayStation 5 to run? Kind of like the wireless headsets for VR PC today, they do their own thing, right? They're like their own platform.
Yeah,
So
but,
would it be its
also
own unique platform, or is the system running the game and kind of taking your inputs from the headset wirelessly like a controller?
the system would be running the game and it would send it wirelessly to the controller, because
gotcha.
that's
Think
one of
about
the,
it
that's
like
one of the
some
reasons.
A50s. You go all wireless. It just sends it to
Yeah,
the
that's,
Yeah.
that's
I
one
see.
of-
I see.
that's one of the issues holding back VR is that it's wired, and the PC solution they have two ways of doing it. I believe it's the Oculus Quest. Its own unit wirelessly, and then you can also sync it up to your PC and use your PC power as well.
So you
Don't
think
call
there
me
might be a
white
chance
chance.
that
They're
you
going
could, like,
to
play,
say what?
I
You
was gonna
guys
say,
talking
could
about
you
this
play
VR
maybe
still?
like a-
Damn.
Well, yeah. Could you play like maybe a lesser tiered VR game,
No.
totally unconnected from the box?
I doubt it. I
Maybe-
think it's
no.
I think it's going to be connected to the console.
Okay, fair enough.
I seriously lean more towards maybe them showing off something VR related or some feature they focus on rather than showing the PlayStation 5 or really delving into the PlayStation 5, since they've got a reveal in February, just a month away.
Yeah, but at the
so-
same time, like if you got to think from their point of view, Xbox got a lot of mind share right now. You're going to want to combat that anyway. Any little tidbit that you can give Sony fans
Mm.
on the PlayStation will ignite the base. So
Unless it's
right.
the
I
9
think they might
teraflops.
stop
Hey, Tim, I want to ask Tim about this because Tim may have some perspective on, if Sony are about to fire a shot back or not.
Well, I mean, I've heard through the grapevine that Xbox is waiting for Sony's counterpunch. Well, that was verbatim. So, Sony, listen, we talked about the marketing. If we're talking about CES, I think it's going to be possibly a little spec talk, not spec talks like teraflops. Certain things that they're doing, they might show a game running that Corey has, whether it's God of War,
Some load
on one of
times.
the load times is the thing on their new TVs, on their
Yeah,
new line. So I think it's more along the lines. I wouldn't get too hyped for CES. I think you're going to get some type of information, but I would get hyped for this PlayStation conference. I think that's where you're going to see a counterpunch, and they're going to probably come with the heat. So whether or not we're going to talk about T-flops and all that stuff, I don't think that we're going to hear that specifically, and you're going to get specs. They're going to talk about it, in other terms. But as far as CES, I see some type of presence, but do expect Sony to really rattle Xbox and come with some heavy shit, because that they have heavy shit.
And I like
And
that
they're-
damn grapevine you always getting shit from. Those are some fancy ass grapes.
Yeah, well, so Xbox is expecting them to counter. You got to realize Xbox had E3, they had XO19, and then they took over the Game Awards with, they've dispersed a ton of information, while Sony really just has been sitting there and just saying, okay, But in that time, they're gathering up their
Eating nachos and
cavalry.
shit.
I think what they're doing, Tim, is they're figuring out how to angle this shit.
Pretty much, yeah, and they're gonna have a good angle. Listen, it doesn't matter. We can talk about T-flops all day. When they do show a game, and like let's just say they showed Spider-Man 2 at the PlayStation conference, that's gonna blow people's minds, and that's gonna be talked about. So, we're gonna go into the other stuff with the next topic, but for this topic, I would just say. Don't expect don't expect all the answers to be answered at CES. Expect some type of collaboration with the television maybe, and maybe Corey shows off a game and they talk. They could show the design of PS.
I wouldn't even expect that. I mean,
5, but I wouldn't expect that. I think that the real. I think they're going to come with a heavy show at the PlayStation event.
I think they're going to show like a small
I gotta give
little
a shout out
trailer.
real quick, and then I'm gonna come back to Zonker and his little Centurion helmet. We do got to give a shout out to almost 1,200 people watch this live, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Say what? Yeah, power matters. Of course, hit that like button if you haven't. Let's smash past 500 likes from the end of the show, 1,000 after the fact. Thank you so much for what you guys do. Share this out. Help us out a little bit. It's the last show of the year. We've got some good topics to come. We've got Sony potentially winding up to give a little bit more information on PS5, but I would not expect a full reveal or anything crazy like that. Microsoft's reveal of the Series X was so cool because we didn't expect it, so I will keep that in mind. But CES is CES. Zalker, what were you going to say?
I totally forgot.
Okay, well.
Oh, no, sorry. I said that they're probably going to show like a little trailer for the PS5 and announce when they're going to have like an event for it, maybe.
A little trailer.
I'm just saying, like a small
possible.
trailer
That's
that talks about it, like says, hey,
Announces
this,
it, yeah.
that announces it and says, come back March, February, whatever the fuck.
Wait,
like,
is Sony going to follow Microsoft again?
Yeah, find your next favorite game.
Well, hey, hold the pressure. Hey, hold up, Tim. We have over 1,200 viewers. Can I get some excitement?
And that's on. That's on. Oh my god!
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Tim goes like literally blows a blood vessel and blood starts squirting on his window. That's on that's on New Year's Eve too, by the way.
I know, and I was telling Dealer like I don't even know if we should do the show because this is incredible.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't think we were gonna get this time. I thought we'd be like, yeah, it's New Year's Eve, everyone's out.
Hey,
they're probably all getting ready.
Tim, why don't you tell the audience how many subs Dealer hit today or last night?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I would like to tell them about you as well. You hit 80,000. Congratulations on that. And Dealer has hit. The dealer has showed crazy growth through the year.
Yell the number.
60,000.
Oh,
Now, Tim.
All right. Keep on eardrums. Come on now.
Tim, you got to get more excited for my numbers. I hit 800 subs.
800.
All right. No more yelling. Come on, Tim. I want you to live past 50. All right. We've also got another channel member here. We got Ocaminato. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Let me look at it.
Thank you so much for taking the plunge and hitting the join button. Do appreciate it, man. And again, I gotta give another shout out to Anthony Owens, man, because this guy goes hard in the super chat. Appreciate it. It does help. But again, let's get back to Zalker making fun of Sony for stealing Discover Your Next Favorite Game. And that was
I just think that
clever.
they're gonna. I know. I think they're gonna adjust a lot of what they do, and I think they're gonna show a little bit at the little event where we're talking about, and I think it's gonna be a small little trailer. I don't think they're gonna show. I don't know. Corey Barlog, I guess, being there, maybe they'll show a game. I don't know. Like, it's kind of weird.
Well,
I feel like that's all they have to do is show Corey Barlog, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, we love you," and that's it. Like you throw him out there.
Wait. Zucker, tell him.
Not everybody loves Corey Barlog,
Twitter.
though. I mean, there are little rabid fanboys that are kind of mad at him, and he made fun of him and drop kicked him in the face. I don't know if you guys saw that on Twitter.
He likes games no matter what.
It was a Sony fanboy that was trying to attack him because he's not Corey Barlog's not a radical fuck, and the Sony fanboy didn't like that. So.
You mean Corey Barlog plays on more than one platform?
I think Corey Barlog's a fucking millionaire. And he doesn't give two shits what some turd thinks about MLB and all the shit going to Xbox. So PS5, CES, whatever. Corey Barlog's talking about being there. Sony literally said get a glimpse of the future. It could involve their TVs. It may involve the PlayStation. I don't know. We're just telling you guys what we've heard and what we've seen. And this is researchable by anybody on Google. PS5 9.2 teraflops leak through AMD drivers, and apparently pacebin is more accurate than AMD drivers, according to some people who shouldn't make videos about technology. That's very interesting. What is the price going to be, D-Batch? I'm thinking $399 here.
Yeah. Based on the specs that we've seen, $399. I think Sony kind of spelled it out for all of us when they said that they want to transition PlayStation 4 gamers quickly over to the PlayStation 5. And how are you going to do that with an expensive console?
With a $700 console, of course.
Right. So it seems correct. Now I was all over that thread looking at all the information, and like these are legitimate documents from AMD, and to the people saying that, oh, it's fake and it's fake news. I got so much of that shit on my Twitter. Oh, it's fake news. Why you're reporting on it?
Because they're like from June and July, right? And there apparently was no evidence of ray tracing then, but these are not complete documents.
No, they're not complete documents. But if you look at the documents, you see that they did backwards compatibility tests for the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 3. So how the fuck is it not the PlayStation 5? And another thing, I was actually, digging up some information, like some of the old articles that I had. And there was an article from, I believe it was either May or June, from Tweaktown. And their leaks.
Tweaktown?
Yeah, Tweaktown. It's a PC site.
Oh, I thought it was like how to make meth site.
So
I like that.
Only D.
That their sources said that the PlayStation 5 was just a little bit under a 2080 performance, and that that it was basically under a 2080 performance, and that the GPU was clocked at 2 gigahertz. Now we see this leak, and it's clocked at 2 gigahertz, and 9.2 teraflops is just a little bit under a 2080.
Yep.
So like the writing is on the wall.
Kamachi or whatever his name is, right? Said the same damn thing.
Yeah, so the only way that let's say there's a few scenarios. Let's say Sony ups the clocks, which I doubt it, 'cause it's already at 2 gigahertz.
That seems pretty crazy as is.
Yeah, so say they unlock one of the locked CUs, because I think like 4 CUs are cut off. So say they unlock 1 or 2 of them, they might get a little bit more performance there. But it's not enough to make up that deficit. So at the end of the day, I think the max it could probably get that system to is 9.5 teraflops. It's the fact is it's not going to beat the Xbox Series X, and I don't think they're aiming to do that. We've brought it up on the panel many times before. Sony has never really said that they're going to have set the benchmark with their console. In fact, that job listing that we saw when they said the world's fastest or most powerful console, they retracted that. Yeah. So
they did. They went, oh shit.
So, I don't think they're gonna go for the crown. Now, I did say this in my video today, and I'll say it again here. At the same time, although it will be less powerful than the Xbox Series X or appears to be, 9.2 teraflops is still a fucking lot of power for a console. And when you, like we said earlier in the panel, when you have a 1.8 teraflop console and they're pumping out games like God of War and Uncharted 4 and Death Stranding and whatever, Spider-Man, all the titles that they came up with this generation. Imagine what the fuck they're gonna do with 9.2 teraflops. So PlayStation gamers,
don't damage control it, D.
Well, imagine what these companies are going to do with 3 teraflop difference. If they can do God of War with 1.8, we're talking about a 3 teraflop difference. How much better are the games going to look, baby?
Shady, let me ask you what they've done with it now with the Xbox One X, really. I mean, Gears 5 looks great, but it doesn't look phenomenal to me.
I think God of War looks better, but Gears 5 is running at double the frame rate, though.
I still don't think it looks. I don't think it looks doubly, more than double, the graphics.
In motion, it does.
I don't know.
You guys are crazy. Hold on. You guys are crazy. It doesn't work that way. It's not like these consoles. We're not saying these consoles need to be super powerful so the games can be amazing. Like that. I mean, Wolfenstein 2 is a beautiful game, and they've got it running on the Switch, and that thing's a mobile Tegra chip. Like, that's not what it is. It's the developers that do their thing. Like, they can make amazing games on the Xbox 360 and PS3. They will make amazing games. Xbox Game Studios has studios. Like, Dealer and I have been replaying Gears 5, and we're still saying every 8 minutes, man, this game looks good. And it does. Like, Gears 5 is up there. It's in the upper echelons of the best.
And double the frame rate of the rest, yes.
It is. Yes. Like, we're talking about a difference of like an entire Pro, boys. An entire PlayStation 4 Pro difference in power to think these games are just going to be the same without Digital Foundry zooming in 300%, we won't know, is ludicrous to me. There's no way.
We've seen there's a good idea, and even that Alex guy from Digital Foundry, the PC guy, is always comparing X versus the fucking $3,000 PC without mentioning how expensive that PC is. He's like, these LOD transitions are non-existent, and we're sitting there talking about this ridiculous fast bandwidth and the I/O and the data transfer rates, and he's not taking any of that into consideration, right? And then Digital Foundry come out with this whole thing that we're going to talk about later, but it all kind of explains itself. Like Hellblade, though rendered offline, was a real-time render according to Digital Foundry. It wasn't something that was Pixar'd up, right? It's supposed to give you an idea of what this thing's possible, what's possible, obviously at 24 frames per second for some fucking reason. So expect that to be dialed back a little bit.
I know why.
What's real funny to me though is that when Sony does these tech demos, I remember with the PlayStation 3, what was that game? Something
Killzone.
Deep Down? Was it Deep Down with the dragon?
That was PS4, and that game never came out.
And that game never came out. But when people saw that, they were like, "Oh wow, amazing!" Nobody said, "Oh, that's fake," or "It's this and that." And that game never even fucking came out. It's ridiculous. Now, if Microsoft is saying that that's in engine, I believe them that it's in engine, and that's the target that they're aiming for. Why are we fucking analyzing that fucking trailer? Like, oh, it's at 24 frames per second. Oh, I don't fucking.
That's all
know.
they have.
Like,
that's all that we've been given. Like, who would have thought that we would
besides
not,
Halo?
Yeah, like who would have thought that we would get what the console looks like, the actual name, and a trailer for a next generation game? Like, it was a lot to take in, and Digital Foundry had to go in and microscope it. I mean, I don't blame them. Like, people want to know. As far as dealers saying, I don't know why they did 24 FPS. That's because they wanted the cinematic trailer.
Fuck the cinematic trailer.
But I know a dealer and I had this conversation. He said the same thing. F the cinematic trailer, and he's right. Like, Microsoft should have known better.
Hey, Tim, I think you're Darth Vader and hard. Somebody is.
He's excited, dude.
Maybe
Like
Tim.
my
He's
voice.
like,
Well, that's me.
he's looking at that damn grapevine.
I'm here, huh?
Yeah,
Dog,
they
parts
should
the
have
grapevine
known
with
that was
fingers.
going to be dissected like that.
Yes, they
It's
should have
an interesting
knowing.
decision.
Yeah, knowing that it would probably be dissected the way things have been going the past 3 or 4 years, especially the past 2 years, they should have given us 60.
I
don't think they give a
I
fuck,
want
to
to
be
read
honest with you.
Adam's
I think
super
anything they
chat.
do is
I
gonna
want
give
to
us
read
a
Adam's super chat. I just want to throw it out there. He's destroying the Sony guy that got drop kicked by Corey, but we're not gonna pile onto that guy. I don't know him, and I know he said some. I know he's a fucking radical, but
It's the same guy that insults Phil Spencer directly to his tweets. You know, it's like,
you know what's funny
what do you
is that
say
guy
names?
called Phil Spencer anti-consumer. I'm like, does this stupid fuck know what anti-consumer means? Like, Phil Spencer's giving you more options than ever. Game Pass is pro-consumer as hell. You're not locked down to just one box. You can play where you want.
You have to understand that people like Wes Webb, like people that
Hey,
we
leave
always
Wes
talk
Webb
to.
alone, man. He can count really good, or he used to be able to back when the resolution was on the PS4.
Yeah, he doesn't count anymore.
The
These
exclusives are
guys
being taken away from them.
Yes.
That's what these zealots think. Is it's been taken away from me, even though they still fucking have it in their console and can play it. They're truly lost.
They truly think that it's anti-consumer to have the protection of only I can play this on my one platform, on my one console. Like,
that should be your reward.
They think that's anti-consumer. Like, you don't have any true exclusives. Like, you don't have any specialty. Like, oh, it's so protected. Guess what, guys? In a year or two, maybe even sooner, things will start changing.
Hey,
It's
Frost
just
did
gonna
that
say
shit. He
people
wants
aren't worth
Coalition to work on a new IP. But, well, I mean, I'm hearing they are. So I think they're going to cycle on and cycle off, kind of like Naughty Dog. So Gears 6, for instance, that's like way out. And they're going to come out with another game between Gears 5 and Gears 6. At least that's what we're hearing.
Yes.
I never heard that. Where's your grapevine, Tim Dog? What the fuck?
It ain't Tim. It ain't Tim Dog's
never heard
grapevine. I'm just saying that's what I've heard. I don't know if Tim's heard the same thing.
Thank you, Freddie.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I think Gears, the IP needs a rest. And I think the nostalgia can come back if you go away from it. You just listen. Coalition is a big time studio. They can push out a AAA new IP. It just makes sense in my opinion. But let's see what happens. I think best for the IP though. The Gear.
I just want to finish my point that I was making earlier, which was the fact that. Colt, you're right when you say it comes down to the developers. Okay, the developers are what makes these games look and perform special.
Yes.
And that is why, yes, I am excited to see what the initiative has to offer when they do bring out a game, because they are gathering up a whole shit ton of great developers from around the industry. So when you hear me say, look at what Sony has done, Sony's made incredible looking games. Naughty Dog, is just one of the developers that I personally think are one of the best out there when it comes to creating games. Look at what they've done with 1.8 teraflops. Just imagine what they'll do with 9.2. It's insane to think what they will do with that.
Imagine what the
Volunteer, let me
makers
help
of
you.
Red Dead 2 will
Well,
do
see,
with
this is what
12
you
teraflops.
guys see that this. I think you guys are doing this. I think you guys are looking at this really wrong, to be honest with you. I don't think the fucking teraflops and all that really matter. It does help the developer,
You heard
but what
Zachary
really
doesn't think
matters.
that stuff matters.
No, I'm saying it matters, but what I'm saying is, like, if it's easy to develop for, that's what matters.
They're both going to be
Like,
easy
the
to develop
Xbox
for.
One, the Xbox One wasn't easy to develop for. That's just a fact. Like that, no matter what, it was hard. A lot of developers complained. Phil Spencer had a freaking interview talking about how it was. The developers were like, "Yeah, we don't like developing for it." Like it's just that's just a fact that
fucking
happened.
ES RAM. I mean, again,
Hold
it's
on.
stupid
Yeah, I know,
decision.
but like,
Hold
see,
on.
but they changed it. They changed that whole thing now. So the Xbox Series X is literally built like consoles have two customers, us and developers. The developer is a fucking customer, so you need to make it easy for them to make games on it. So this 12 teraflop or whatever the hell it is that it's going to be, that stuff is huge because now the developers are going to have such an easy time to make games on Xbox, far more easier than it ever has been since probably the 360 era. And that's why the PS4
Let me
killed
ask
it.
you guys. Let me ask you guys a real question, because I hear you guys going back and forth. If Xbox was in the position Sony's in right now, let's just say that the shoe was on the other foot, and all this information was pointing towards Xbox being underpowered. What would be everyone be talking about? What
What?
would
They'd be telling Microsoft to shut the whole thing down, shut it down, get the fuck out. You're not
Exactly.
taking nothing serious. That's what the mantra would be. Literally,
Yeah, you're
you
right.
know it would be.
Yep.
I mean, I see the discourse in certain forums and stuff like that. That like
Fuck
you know,
reset era.
no, but if this was the other way around, there would be mass bannings. Like there would be, there would be total people would be getting banned left and right. People are just like they want. There's a lot of people that want Sony to be more powerful, and to me, just
Of
even
course.
what I've dealt with, like my personal thing, people are fucking loony about power, and that goes on both sides. Xbox guys and Sony guys, because the minute that they hear that Sony might be more powerful, it's like I get Phil dropped the ball. He dropped the ball.
They
Guys,
didn't give a
what
shit
Tim-
about power
Tim
since
has seen this all
2017,
day
and then
long.
the rumors came out that PS5 get a 50 million teraflops, and then they loved it again, right?
Yeah.
And then the
And
9
we
and
saw-
then the 9.2 came out. Then magically they're talking about, well, it's better to save the $100.
It's not just that, dealer. We also saw the tweets where the guys were crying on Twitter, like, this can't be real, can it? Are we really underpowered? And I'm
This
thinking,
is why it's most likely. This is why it will not likely have 9.2 T-flops.
Yeah,
That's
that's
Lockhart wiping his eyes over the
Then they got
MLB
Mac-
incident.
Then they got mad that Lockhart might be $399, cheaper than the PS5. Dealer and I saw it today.
Oh.
$299.
A guy was like, "There's no way." $299. Sorry, I usually say the rounded number. Yeah, they're getting mad that Lockhart is possibly $300, and they're like, "There's no way. There's no way it's going to be $300." It's like, why? And they don't want to say it because it'll be cheaper in the PS5.
Meanwhile, like
And
you
it'll
said,
be-
they're like a 9 T-flop PS5 could easily be 400 though.
Right.
I don't know.
It's just
What the part that
power.
amazes me is the denial that these guys have. Like these were official AMD documents, and these guys, like, they're fighting it tooth and fucking nail. And like, if you really dig deep into it, the original poster, he had to pull his shit down. And when they did some investigating, you know who made him pull it down? Sony. Sony made him pull it down.
What?
Yeah.
Where'd you hear that? I was telling people that AMD might have had him pull it down.
Well,
Because
somebody
it
had
was
to
from
pull
hardware.
it down.
It was Sony.
How do you tell, D? What do you
Well,
know?
they I don't know. They went and checked
Where have you heard this?
the paste bin files or whatever, and it was the request was made by SIE. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was on Reset Era. So
crap.
they
Well,
they said-
somebody got to that
also
guy.
told me that the PS5 is 72 teraflops, man. So I don't know what the fuck to believe, man. I'm confused.
Dual GPUs.
take what they say with a grain of salt, man. Reset Era
Well,
is
I'll
already
say this
dead.
because I saw the documents my damn self, and it was the PlayStation 5. Now, how current it is in its state now, I'm not sure, but I can say this: I'll agree with Digital Foundry. It's too late for them to change the GPU. All they can do is tweak the memory,
Clock speeds.
increase the clock speeds.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they can do at this point. They can't do anything else. And it's already at 2 gigahertz. It's been rumored at 2 gigahertz for quite some time. 2 gigahertz, a lot for a console. It's a lot. It's a lot for the regular card on the PC, just the GPU itself, much less in the console. So if they were able to achieve 2 gigahertz, that's a feat in itself. And should be counting your lucky stars that they were able to get.
Let me give a shout out to the people listening to us live. I gotta give
Your
a shout out
footage
to.
looks awesome, by the way.
It's World War Z. For those that are tuning in here late,
Game Pass.
we got we're almost halfway to 1,400 people watching live. Guys, hit that like button if you're tuning in.
Holy shit!
If you Chris on New Year's Eve, thanks for rocking out with us with your New Year. Some of you motherfuckers are already in the future, like Darge Knight over in 2020.
Thank you.
But yeah, again, thanks for rocking out with us, guys. Everything you guys do, share this out. We had like 1,600 people last time we were on too. We're like, you guys have been supporting like crazy. So hit that like button if you haven't.
Yeah, we hit 1,300, and Tim Dog has to buy me an Xbox.
Yeah, he has to buy everyone. He has to buy everyone Xboxes. I just want to give a shout out to those guys first and foremost because they
A
power
lot
the
of people
show.
took that seriously, Colt. I got a lot of DMs.
Yeah, I did take it down serious. You better talk to Phil, Tim.
Xbox Battleground says, Happy New Year, everyone. Remember, this 2020 is the year of the Xbox communication begins. Yes.
You have to read Darge Knight's little message there.
I don't see it. Where's it?
Get
Go
your
ahead.
box out.
Get your box. Shout out
You
to
guys
Darge.
know how far we are out from these next gen boxes actually going into like mass production? Like we know Phil has one at home, but that doesn't mean that
Like
it's being
August?
Yeah, like,
August,
are they going
I
to
think,
start
built by the millions, you know what I mean?
Well, I have
Okay.
Albert put up a post on I think Reset Era, and he details that. So if you really want that answer, I don't have it for you, but they call it a tape out
Yes.
thing, and that's
Tape your
usually
box out.
he details the whole thing. So maybe
The
But
tape
like,
out-
like D and Digital Foundry did say,
No.
like, they're done with the specs. The only
Yeah,
thing
tape-
Sony can be tweaking is like their new
The
narrative. That's about it, right?
clocks,
Yeah,
clocks
tape out
ran.
is
Their
the
new
point of no
narrative.
return. Yeah.
Gotta tweak that back.
We gotta ramp the clocks up on that damn narrative.
Well, it's
Yeah,
like they,
take
tried,
us
they
think about
tried
this.
for a little bit with that. We're the fastest console that lasted 24 hours. It was like, delete that. We're not the fastest.
Well,
Shit.
Tape out is the point of no return for the silicon, like where they just needed to continue testing and getting everything ready. So it's not a situation where Xbox reveals the thing at the Game Awards and Sony's like, oh, back to the drawing board. Let's put more power in. Like, it's already said and done. I think sometime in June or July is when both of these SoCs were pretty much in the direction they're going for the power.
And what was the rumor back then?
That PS5 was more powerful than the
Right.
Xbox.
And
Yeah.
and Xbox
We
didn't
love
answer
power.
it at all. See, that's the thing. I think Xbox definitely
You like power, don't you?
listen. Xbox definitely played a game because I know for a fact that being that Phil has Take Home, which is basically the dev kit or whatever you want to call it for
Pre-production
X,
Series X.
they're way ahead of the way when they were doing.
Hey,
the
even
Xbox
more
One
interesting,
X.
Tim. Do you remember when motherfuckers was claiming that I got a developer? Who was it? Dudes from Game Informer talking about their developer saying the Xbox is way less powerful
Right.
than the PS5. Oh my god!
But
Oh my gosh, what
I do think that maybe they put out a document that was maybe a baseline between Lockhart and Xbox X, and they basically played a game there because they knew once Sony. Like, listen, if this news came out last year at this time, Sony
Power
could
matters.
possibly wiggle around. There's no doubt that the Sony hardcore would rather play 499 for a more powerful console. But again, it's not about really them. The casual is not going to know what the hell a T-flop is, and they're just going to say, "I want
they're gonna go by
I want the
the
best.
console."
They're going to go by the visuals.
Oh,
they're going to go by
God.
what they see.
I
at the
have to
store.
tackle this one real quick because this is the dumbest. Like, and it's not this guy saying this. Shout out to Review Tech. Aaron JF94. He says, and I don't know if Review Tech said this. I have to listen to it myself and make sure that's what he said. But if he did, I pray that Review Tech doesn't cover this. So he says, hey, what are the chances that Xbox is actually 9 teraflops, but has the architecture compared to 12 teraflops Jaguar?
I've heard that a lot.
Okay, now here's the problem because Microsoft and AMD have already confirmed Navi, right? Now, this is a thing that people are reaching for. But keep in mind this is back when only a few of us were saying 12 teraflops. Now we need to remind people that now Digital Foundry agree with us. Cat, shut the fuck up! Do you hear him meowing? Holy
You know where
shit.
this is coming from, dealer? It's Phil's announcement that the GPU is twice as powerful as the X. He didn't say 12; he said twice as powerful.
Phil
And
is
if you
going
do
off
the
for all
conversion
T-flops
on
without going
newer
into the
T-flops,
advantages of Navi. That's what happened.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
people
can- I-
translating that as
I
you know,
can tell
corporate
you,
speak.
I can tell you unequivocally, this has been explicitly told to me. RDNA 12 T-flops. Like I
Oh,
said,
baby.
I had to I asked the same questions to the same people 3 times because people kept going saying, this and this shows this. The fact is, it's a Navi T-flop. You can confirm that.
But Tommy,
but I
what's
gotta
a
say this real
minger
quick.
from
It's just
Reseller
fucking-
said 14 GCN?
It's just common sense, though. Like, why the fuck would they be? Okay, let's calculate our target points of GCN, even though we're using a fucking RDNA GPU. That makes no fucking sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no
I mean,
sense.
I
Well,
wouldn't have made that video either, saying that.
You were finding out if it was RDNA before the video, so you knew that was going to be a thing, and you said, I remember when we were talking about make sure we were talking about it says I got to make sure that it's RDNA. We got
to make sure it's Navi. Yeah.
Yes.
Look,
And so-
I'm not a big tech guy. A lot of people out there aren't big tech guys, but at the end of the day, if any one of us would have heard anything about a Jaguar core, we'd be running for the hills.
Exactly.
No.
Right,
AMD
exactly.
have already confirmed Zen and Navi. So again, Aaron, thank you so much, man. I don't know if that's what Review Tech said. Hopefully not. Shout out to Rich.
You know what? Can I just say one thing real quick?
Go ahead.
If you really want to, you can even spin it the opposite way. You could say that the 12 teraflops of Navi performance equals around 15 teraflops.
Oh
of-
my God,
Say it that way,
D-Bat,
say it that
yes.
way.
Oh,
Yeah.
because it does. Because it does.
Yeah, it's massive power. And again, I just want to reiterate that the Digital Foundry before all of this, before the 12 T-flops that originated on this channel, then Windows Central, then Tom Warren, and then eventually Digital
Colby
Foundry
Swift.
themselves, right? And we're talking about the same set of sources here, not, a leak said it and I repeated it. No, unequivocally, that's what it is. That's what it was told. Double check, 412, blah, blah, blah. Digital Foundry went from not believing it to believing it now because of their sources. I want to make sure everyone knows that. So everyone that's in doubt, just know that that's what they've come to as well. If you're not watching their videos, you wouldn't know, but that's what they are saying now.
Yeah, he was using words like Microsoft is poised to deliver perhaps something that console gaming or dare say PC gaming has never seen. It's like a whole nother level that we just didn't think was possible. Like his phrasing gave me goosebumps, and this is Digital Foundry giving me goosebumps and not triggering me. I was like, what? And I'm not a tech guy, so it's just like this all sounds really nice. I somewhat know what's going on, but like it's going to be.
And there's people in this community, Shady, like motherfuckers that didn't believe us when we were, even though we've been the first to talk about so much shit. They didn't believe me or us on this shit either. And again, they've swung around. They made videos recently talking about, well, maybe it is true.
Oh,
So-
like when are people going to realize that this channel, like this show, has actual video game websites using it as reference for their news? And it's like, reported on RDX last week, this game, and it's just like, yo, that's pretty intense to me looking in. You guys are very credible. You know what you're talking about. You're not here to troll. It's great. And you guys have been right for a very, very long time on a lot of things, man.
Well, you know what else is right, Shady? We got 1,400 people watching us live on New Year's Eve. And one of those is Darj Knight. Get your box out.
Yeah.
You blew up Darj Knight in your gameplay, bro. You shot a rocket at his ass. He
Dude,
was just
yeah.
surrounded by
Why do you think
zombies,
he's
blew
trying to get
shit
the
up.
box out?
So, he shouldn't have been standing there.
Again,
Poor
yeah,
guy.
he shouldn't have been standing there. But again, guys, thanks for rocking out with us. So do appreciate it. Hit that like button if you haven't. Share this out if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit that notifications bell if you haven't. Go dislike Zocker's last video if you haven't. We got to move on.
Dealer!
What the fuck?
What? I didn't.
Stop
Give me
it!
that, but go give me that view.
Oh, also, I got to point out that people are. Who was it? Slow Mo. I never really talked to him. He seems like a cool dude, but he brought up Radeon 7. There's people out there that believe this, so I just want to. I know we've covered it before, but we do want to cover it again because apparently people think this still. But like cards like Radeon 7 on GCN were much higher T-flops than cards like RTX 2070, 2080, and it would still get beat, right, or rivaled. And that's on GCN. Whereas Navi is a less of a jack of all trades and more of a gaming focused card that is much more efficient per T-flop now. And D, you can I know you want to dive in on this next, but I'm just saying that per T-flop now, which has already been proven through 5700 XT, 9.5 T-flops easily competes with 2070 cards like that. So that's not the same way that these consoles will work. The T-flops are not measured the same way when it comes to gaming. It's a substantial
That's correct.
difference.
I actually own a Radeon 7, and that card, it kind of lies around 2080 performance, although it has more teraflops. Now, if I use it for like, I don't know, fucking crypto mining or like some other like, you know,
They put a
rendering,
lot of its capability in other things.
I get all the power of it, but yeah, GCN was just not it wasn't that great, man, to be honest with you. It ran its course. Now, the old teraflops, 10 teraflops of GCN was not equal to 10 teraflops of NVIDIA T-flops. It just wasn't. NVIDIA T-flops were a lot more efficient. You were getting a lot more performance out of it.
Oh,
that has
changed. You fucking fraud.
That has changed with Navi. With Navi and RDNA, the efficiency is much better. I think the calculation is it's either 1.6 or 1.7 T-flops per one T-flop. So like one T-flop of RDNA would equal 1.7 T-flops of GCN.
And then
so
you
it's a lot more
duct tape
efficient.
the RAM to it and it goes up to 1000 T-flops, right?
And also too, I just want to add another point. Now we're speculating on this. We don't know 100% for sure, but it's looking like at least the Xbox Series X will be RDNA 2 because, and I say this because it has hardware ray tracing and it has VRS.
That is another point of contention too, D-Batch.
The ray tracing.
Yeah, which is
RDNA 2.
Yeah, which is
okay.
exclusive. That is exclusive to RDNA 2, the ray tracing and the variable rate shading. Now, technically, I guess they could do some fucking type of hybrid to do some ray tracing cores, but it wouldn't be as efficient. And like, why would you bother when it's already natively baked into RDNA 2?
Either way, that bitch is gonna be badass. And when people still to this day talking about how ray tracing's gonna cripple frame rates and shit, don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Well, that's where VRS comes into play. Variable rate shading.
Well, it's console ray tracing. It's not fucking NVIDIA RTX ray tracing. It will not be at quite the higher rasterization level of something like a fucking RTX card. I do not believe that. But it will be phenomenal.
Dealer, I'm sorry, I got to cut you off at the knee here. I don't
cut him.
No, I don't believe it.
Take him
think
out.
so. To be honest with you, I don't think so. From the internal testings that we've been hearing, AMD's ray tracing is supposedly really impressive. And this
it's impressive.
This will be like a second generation kind of ray tracing.
I mean, RTX ray tracing on low is impressive.
They'll have the benefits, of all the first generation GPUs and the mistakes they made and the deficiencies they had, and to make improvements on that. Yeah. And AMD's come on the record and said that they're not going to get into ray tracing until developers support it and until they can really launch it properly. Now they're going full force with this. I think it's going to be quite capable. And once again, the variable rate shading is really going to assist with those frame rates on ray tracing because they're going to use it in the background, to render stuff at a lower res that you're not going to notice. And that's going to increase.
I will stand by that. This is definitely going to be a custom form of ray tracing that will perhaps have a lower rasterization quality than the top end shit on PC. That is common sense. I don't think that's
top end shit. The new tech can be more.
I don't. Yeah, maybe the top end shit, like a 3080 Ti, maybe is going to be more capable of that, or a top end.
I mean, I'm just talking about ray tracing in general. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be shitty because
it's not going to be shitty. No one said that.
It's going to have to run for 5 years, and in order for ray tracing to become a thing, consoles are really going to be the systems that push it forward. I think it's going to do a really good job at it, to be honest.
Hang on, I got a question for Others Inc. He said sites use dealer show for reference because Others Inc.'s in the chat. Now, Others Inc.'s a big supporter of the show, and we've been known to go back and forth with Others Inc. in a playful manner, and this is definitely that. Don't take anything other than that. But I saw Others Inc. not long ago still saying that Lockhart is not real.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it.
Others
Inc. is our extremist. Sony has theirs. He's ours.
Others Inc. I'll tell you right now, and I've told you 100 times on the show, Lockhart is real. You better be prepared to walk out with that giant L when that happens. I just want to say that.
Or
just wobbles out in the shape
maybe it'll be the one you buy.
Remember, we've always said that this shit was real, except for that clip where me summing up the article where developers saying apparently Lockhart's off the table, right? But we've always talked about how Lockhart's a thing. And, you know, a lot of people had to learn that the hard way when all these other people from Forbes and The Verge started reporting the same damn thing. Pretty
and now
interesting.
they're
What
reporting
if
it
though?
is
What
real.
if it isn't? I mean, how big is the Corolla plate going to be served up to RDX if it isn't? I just
No,
I think-
no.
well, I
I
think- I
mean, it
think it is.
definitely is, and I wouldn't be this confident about it. I wouldn't not leave the door open if it wasn't. And if it doesn't come out somehow, then it really was fucking canceled last minute. That's what I know, and that's how good the source is on it.
At this point, we're wondering if it comes out at launch. I think it will. Some people think a year later, but there's no reason to launch a cheaper than PS5 model other than day one.
I mean, why do
That's-
you?
you'll
Rand
off
brought it
that
up
bomb
today.
right out
Rand
the
brought it
gate.
up today. Why do you think the Series X is as powerful as it is? Because
Yeah,
Microsoft know they have another answer at $300.
Yeah, and I gotta give
Exactly.
you credit on this dealer because you championed this for a long time. Even when people were saying it's canceled, you're like, I don't know about all of that, and like, you know, you stuck to your guns, and you were right on this. And I think it's a great strategy for Microsoft. I don't care what anybody says. Options are always a good thing in the PC market. We got fucking options. We don't just have one card. We have several cards. And
I'll tell you what.
whatever
I'll
you
tell
can
you what,
afford,
dealer.
you can go with, right? And I think the Lockhart undercutting the PlayStation 5 really gonna put the PlayStation 5 in a weird place.
Here's what the Lockhart does, because these frauds try and tell us that power doesn't matter because the most powerful is never the highest selling. Well, guess what? The Lockhart will be a way higher selling console.
Who gives a
than the
fuck
Series
how much
X.
something sells anyway?
That's right. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't. I mean, who cares? Like the Nintendo DS is the highest, one of the highest selling things, and I don't want one of those.
Garbage.
Hey,
All
I
bragging
got to bring
rights,
up
all
Ainsley
bragging
Bowden
rights.
because Ainsley from Season Gaming just karate chopped the fuck out of like 1,000 people on Twitter. He's like, all these people concerned about if grandma could tell the difference between a Series X and a Series S, and yet the 3D, the Nintendo handhelds have had 10 different versions basically over 10 years or some shit. Like, and nobody said a damn thing, and they all got different names. Like, that is an
It's so
absolute
true.
fact.
It's so true. It's so true.
It really is, man. Zachary, what are you doing? Chewing your toenails?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Oh, shit.
No, honestly, I was thinking about. I was just kind of sitting here thinking about the Lockhart, and to be honest with you, I think the Lockhart, if it is real, right, it most likely is. I think it's like
It
a
is
great
real.
little thing for honestly people that like the PlayStation ecosystem. I think they don't need to buy a Xbox Series X if they want to play all their games on PlayStation, and then they can just buy the Lockhart super cheap and play all the the Xbox exclusives. Like
Game
that's
Pass.
the way I see
Can
it.
I,
Like,
can I ask?
and
can I
through
ask-
Game Pass too.
Can I say something here? I have a some DM from the Blu-ray King. He wants to ask the panel. He's a good guy. What do you think the Lockhart has a chance to be $249 at a strong amount of T-flops?
No,
Or is it going to be $299?
I mean, we know it's 4, Tim. We both know it's 4.
Right.
And
I don't think any of the consoles are gonna end in 49. They're all gonna be something.
I also think it may have to have no Blu-ray drive to keep it at $400. That's
Do you
my
think they're going to take
Yeah,
a loss this gen? Like this next gen? This gen, all the companies tried to profit and actually did day one. You think they're going to actually go back to the old ways and take a $50 to $75 loss?
Wait
per
a second.
console?
1 second, dealer. Did you say that it's going to be $400? That's the
No,
price.
four
no,
teraflops.
Four
Four
teraflops.
teraflops.
They're aiming for $400.
No,
No,
four
$299.
T-flops,
Oh,
and
okay.
yes, I do believe 300.
$399 because he's brain dead.
Colt accidentally said $399, but I think it'll be $299. So does Colt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it'll be 4
$300.
T-flops. Blah blah blah. And remember,
Yeah, and I
Jason
think that-
Schreier also reported on. He talked to developers that are already working on the fucking thing. I had already heard from somebody that's loading games like Sea of Thieves in 3 to 5 seconds on the thing. Mind you,
Hell yeah.
that's a minute and a half on the Xbox One X load today. On the PC, on a 970 Pro, that is a 15 to 25 second load. So that is, and this all folds back into the GPU memory situation we're going to talk about later. If you don't believe that, they're doing something on the gaming side that no one's really done on the PC side yet. Only on the workstation cards that cost $7,000. So think about that. Right? Everyone die?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Did I actually say $399 again? Is that what you were saying?
I don't know.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know. Chat, let us know if you did. Chat, let us know if you did.
Yeah, it's Gunplay said I was drunk. I don't know what alcohol tastes like.
Beer back. Someone's at my door. Beer back.
It's the guy that was drawing on your wall earlier.
Probably
Let
is.
me in, bitch.
Fuck, beer back.
Sucker's like, hello? Quit making videos.
Play some games, bitch. Oh my god. Either way,
yeah.
though, it's pretty interesting.
So what about Game Pass? Like, if Game Pass starts making some good money, is Microsoft willing to let one of the consoles not
They're
make
not
any
gonna.
money.
They already subsidize. They use the Game Pass to subsidize Game Pass at this point. I don't think they're gonna subsidize the console through it.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Point.
And Graphic God, when we were on Boom Show earlier, he talked about, hey, do you think there will be a packing game, kind of like back in the old days? And I was like, no, definitely not. The hardware already costs so much. These are monster fucking consoles. The fact that we're even comparing them.
He makes a good point. They're already putting them in Game Pass. Like,
exactly. That's what I was going to say. They
why
already
not throw in
offer
a
a
month
month
of
or
Game
two of
Pass?
Game Pass for free in the box, too. So,
Yeah.
I
Have
mean,
you guys
you get
thought about
hundreds
them
of games.
taking a loss on the Series X and launching it at the exact same price as the PS4 or the PS5, and then having the Lockhart?
they would
$100
lose. They would lose millions and millions of dollars.
They would, but what if they could make it back on Lockhart sales?
There's
If they
really
made
no point because you can
$25 on
play their
Lockhart?
games on a base console. You can play their games on a damn cell phone at that point. You can play their
Right.
games on PC.
It would essentially just come down to like just the optics, man. If you're getting that much more power for the exact same price, that's pretty intense. And with the new gen, you want to get as many consoles sold as soon as you can to get that snowball rolling. Get it big enough and it's unstoppable, kind of like the PS4 this gen.
Well, to them, though, they're still using their old consoles, too, as of right at launch. They're
Right.
still utilizing those.
Yeah.
One thing I've heard in regards to that, so shady is that, and I've talked to people with that. They said the days of companies taking loss on hardware for consoles are over.
They're over.
So
like, that's too bad
basically-
because you buy one controller and 2 games and you're back in the green. I mean, you've got you for the next 5 years, so they should take that hit, get it into as many people's houses as possible. Don't make money on the console itself. You make money on software, controllers, services like Game Pass. I think Microsoft should go as aggressive.
They just don't really have
Well, they
big,
went aggressive
massive
with
incentive.
Xbox One X. Just not to interrupt, but they did go aggressive with Xbox One X. The margin there was nothing near what
It was almost nothing.
They could
like making $1 is too much, really. If you profit $1, it's too much. You should be losing 70 on the console. I think.
I'll say this: if it's kind of rumored that the console is going to be like $499, and all the tech that it's packing inside for $499, I think they're pretty much going to be just breaking even on it.
I mean, we're
It was a
lucky
bargain
the
for
damn
sure.
thing is probably going to be $500, honestly, because that's how much power is in
We're
this thing.
hoping because this is probably
They do have to make back that R&D and all that production the first, of this past year and this upcoming year. Like, they have to get that back in the books. And software is where they're going to sell a bunch of stuff. But I think
Shout out to Johnny
really,
Six.
Johnny Five. They really need to make sure that they are in a bunch. It's not going to be like the launch of the Xbox One. Remember, the Xbox One, the general public was basically told to stay away from the Xbox One because of how it launched. Yeah. And the general public right now does not walk around saying, Xbox has no games. Xbox has no games. The general public walks around and looks at a console and says, hey, where are my friends at? Are they on PlayStation? I'll buy a PlayStation.
What the hell is this Game Pass thing I was told about? Holy shit, I get all these games for $10. Oh my God.
Yeah, like it's... So just know that the generation launch next year, both consoles are going to come out completely, totally desirable. The price point is going to be like what we're used to. And PlayStation will probably be ahead, as it always is. Maybe it'll be just a little bit ahead. Maybe it'll be more even. Maybe in North America, like it's been for many years, the sales will be pretty even. Who cares about sales?
Hey,
think about what your experience is, what you want your games to feel and look like and play like. All those games you buy every year.
Yep.
Think about you. Don't worry about what that guy over there says.
Unless he's like, insulting your shoes or something. Then it's time to fight. Yeah. Rob C, he says, Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you so much, brother. We've also got Daryl in the super chat. He says, any chance that the Xbox Series, the Lockhart console? No, I don't.
Any chance in heck that the Xbox Series, the Lockhart, I'm trying to read it. Yeah, he wrote it kind of fast. Any chance in heck that the Xbox Series X is actually the Lockhart consoles?
Is that what you're transcribing it to?
Yeah.
Daryl, some of Daryl's keys on his keyboards are broken, so we're trying to transcribe this real quick.
Yeah, he's like, is there any chance that the Xbox Series X is really the Lockhart? Absolutely not. No, there's been too much differentiation. No. And most people are in agreement that the Lockhart exists, and it is yet to be confirmed as really all it comes down to.
Well, he in a roundabout way, it's been confirmed by Phil, but so right now they don't want to announce it, and they're getting the perception out there of their high-end stuff. It's been done over and over by NVIDIA, and then they reveal the mid-range or lower-range stuff. Valerian says, do you think this is why Phil Spencer said they weren't ready to talk about the GPU? Because they can't talk about it until AMD reveals the new. Yeah, that's a good point. They could actually. Bill might be at CES. D-Batch, is that? What do you think about that? Is that a thing? Is that a rumor? What's going on there?
Sorry, who's gonna be at CES?
Oh my God, the fucking most talented D-Batch.
My bad.
Gosh,
No, CES. Is Phil Spencer going to be there? What do you think?
Yeah, so last year he got on stage at their conference and he kind of alluded that they're gonna have some more things to talk about. I think when they get into RDNA 2 stuff and the improvements that they have over the first generation, I think it is quite possible that Phil will get on the stage and say, we have our partnership with AMD and we're proud to announce that the Xbox Series X will indeed have RDNA 2 inside of it. Shit like that. I think that's
and this is what it does and blah blah blah. Shout out to 22 Lalan. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. New channel member. Thank you so much for hitting that button.
Because I think now up until E3 we're going to start to get these little nuggets of the specs of the Xbox Series X. I don't think at E3 we're going to get the specs. I think we already have them at that point. I think E3 is the big dump on the games. And I hate to spoil E3 for people, but I think at E3, if anything, that's when we're going to get the Lockhart reveal.
Philly Eagle says crack still sells doesn't make it good. I have literally said the same thing behind the scenes, Philly. Hashtag 20.
What?
Motherfuckers will say, it sells a lot. And I say, so does crack. You've heard me say that before. Philly just said that in the chat.
Secret Sauce is overrated. Keeps telling me that sales matter because they can reach platforms. Like, well, Microsoft didn't sell very many first-party games, and look what they're doing with Xbox Game Studios.
They kind of. I think people assume they didn't sell a lot of first-party games, and that's part of the problem.
They sold enough. It's just when you compare them to the PlayStation,
people don't remember. People don't remember that xCloud is going to instantly quadruple their fucking install base overnight. Jesus.
I'll say this: I'm kind of it would have been nice if the generation started off better. To be honest with you, the Xbox One, the OG Xbox One launch was a fucking disaster. But in a way, I'm kind of glad they got their ass kicked this generation because they really had to pull their fucking pants up. I don't think we would have the initiative and all these other fucking studios if they didn't get their ass whooped. Sony whooped them so bad. It's like Rocky 3 when he got fucking whooped by Mr. T, man. And
don't sit there and grin ear to ear because D-Batch just told you that Sony won. Like your best friend's dad just beat up your best friend's dad. Like. It's so funny.
That's a pretty interesting analogy.
They're like, well, my console I didn't make is way better than the console that you didn't make. It's like,
I coughed on the console that won last generation, so fuck you. Hey, ouchie in the chat says, Dealer, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for another great year. Thank you so much, sir. And let's get off the my dad beat the fuck out of your dad analogies, and let's go ahead and
no Others Inc. Others Inc. just said Microsoft sold more first-party games than Sony.
No, stop, Others Inc. Jesus Christ.
I mean, I don't even think Microsoft had more first-party games, period. Okay. So, yeah.
Microsoft did better than what people think, and we have an idea of certain games. Gears and Halo did Gears 4, and even Gears
Microsoft
5. Even Gears 5 was supposed to flop, and no one was going to buy it because it was on Game Pass for $1, but it already did better than Gears 4, according to Phil Spencer.
Xbox games sold per console. It's not even a big deal. At one point they, what was it? It's like 50 million consoles at this point on the Xbox One.
More than that now. But I think it's pretty amazing that they even got to that number, considering the disastrous launch, the deficiency in the games, 700p. I think Phil really kind of settled the boat, and I think next generation they're poised to really make an impact. And
gamers won big time. Sony's very traditional.
No generation has someone kind of won back to back. Every generation they kind of flip flop. They learn from their mistakes and they improve. And I think we're gonna have a better Microsoft because of this generation. And if you're an Xbox fan or a Microsoft fan or just a gaming fan, I think you should be excited for next generation, man.
I gotta give a shout out to Adam real quick. Let me give a shout out to Adam Open. I call him Open Tree for some reason, but Opatry. Opatry. I don't know how to pronounce that, buddy. But thank you so much for coming to the channel, my brother. Shady, you want to wrap up this final subject with what the fuck were we talking about, actually? What were we even on?
we went on everything.
We were on everything.
We're talking about how there was 1,400 people watching.
Oh, yeah.
14 gigawatts.
Tim, what were you saying?
I was just saying that a lot of people say, well, Phil saved Xbox to the fans and stuff like that. there's a little story that's not really told about when Phil took over. There was a real shot that Xbox was not going to be another generation. Satya was not. He really was a service-based cloud type guy that looked. He didn't really see where Xbox fit, and Phil basically had to sell Satya on Xbox, and in the process of what you saw of everything that he's done, that was Phil making Xbox viable for Microsoft. So I think the biggest thing with Phil is that he got Satya to buy in. Now he did it through Game Pass as a service. He did it through things like Minecraft was a big firm. But the reason why they didn't have games coming out, or they weren't developing games from that area, is quite frankly because they didn't know if they wanted Xbox. Meyerson wanted to sell off the division. And there's a lot of stories that you probably never hear from Phil because he doesn't, or from there. But there's a lot of things that Phil did to save Xbox as we know it.
It was worse than anyone ever thought, with like these mediocre first-party games, a bunch of second-party, third-party deals. Like, it was worse. We didn't learn about it until a year ago.
Right. We didn't learn about it to I knew something was up in 2017, and that's why in 2017 I started in with, if they don't put up games or they make games, I'm not here. I don't want to be here for a Valve type deal. I want them to game create. And I think a lot of people were saying the same thing too, but it was ratcheted up, and the position they're in now is so different than where they were in 2014 to 2016 that it's a great thing for Xbox. People who don't like Phil, they say this and this, he lies and all this stuff. No, one thing, he was under a lot of pressure, and I think the GameStop article, there was an article about Phil. It was written during E3, and then they reposted it during the holidays about the guy behind Phil. It discusses some of that about how Phil had to sell Satya on video games, because quite frankly, Satya does not know what a video game. Like, he knows what it is. He's not a video game. He's not a gamer, or he's a businessman, and they did not know if Xbox fit into their scheme. And quite frankly, the old style Xbox didn't, but this new Xbox surely does, because it's all about the service now. It's about the cloud, and it's about Game Pass, and they're building up their Xbox the way it should have been built. But there were, like I said, not to be too long-winded, there was a time where Xbox was in a real dire spot.
No, I mean, that kind of covers the Phil Spencer talking about the reveal of all this behind-the-scenes information that he's kind of touched on before. Stuff that we had kind of known about for months and months and months and months, right? But him coming out and finally talking about that openly was actually really, really cool to see and hear. Because, that's gotta, he's not afraid because, some of these guys take stuff and run with it, right? You can't even say something without clarifying 6 times without somebody trying to take what you said and spin it. And for Phil to talk about that openly, something that could be as dire as pretty much the extinction of the brand, that takes some confidence in the future of the brand.
This is the time to kind of shoehorn this in. Yesterday, you and I were talking with Mike Ibarra about the first party situation on Xbox, and a lot of fanboys kind of took it as he was telling us what's up. But
is that what those idiots thought?
That's kind of what. Yeah, I mean, some people even said it in the chat like half an hour ago here on the show, but. Like, people don't understand, like, we agree 100%.
Now,
with
Mike has literally been on the show and has watched the show and been in the chat several times. He knows that we have talked about their emphasis on AA and that we want more AAA. He agrees with us, and we've given Mike props for being one of the few executives there that actually plays real hardcore games.
And asks for AAA games. Yeah,
exactly.
We've told Mike Ibarra knows that we are asking for AAA. He is asking for AAA. He has said he hopes that Microsoft is making AAA a priority. We do know that half of the teams on Xbox Game Studios are AAA teams. The other half are AA. This is exactly how it is on Sony's team. People don't talk about the AA games that Sony Interactive Entertainment puts out. Sometimes they do.
Is Fonzarelli alive again? Are you going to talk?
I think the bottom line is that he said nothing that we don't all agree with here.
Mm-hmm. And that we haven't said with him in the chat or him on the show, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
someone said that he smacked
weird.
down or he owned Dealer, and I said, I won't say who it is, but I was like, did you
No,
even
go ahead and
read
say
the
who it
thing?
is. I'll smack the shit out of him right now.
Well,
I
they
mean,
said they said the same
gotta
thing with me. They said the same thing with me, and he agreed with me. All he said was he wants them to make AAA, and he also pushed for power. The reason
Did they
why
not see my
Xbox-
reply to Mike or?
Yeah,
they saw the reply, but I mean, if you look
They
at the
don't
reply,
care.
you're
What they
obviously-
are is
care.
they're salty little
Yeah.
fuck boys that don't actually watch the show or even tag us directly. They probably got us blocked, and they can go fuck themselves.
and they hated
Mike
Mike when he was on Xbox.
But
That's
yeah, they're the
funniest thing.
same people that
They
tell you Game
hated
Pass is a
Mike
bad
when-
idea, and they're the same
Yeah.
idiots who said Sony would never send their shit to other platforms. The same morons that championed power when they thought they had it, but now damage control. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. We're one of those podcasts and our videos we talk about all the time that we want AAA to be.
These guys are
a
fanboys.
reality.
Oh, what's the last video you watched? All right, shut the fuck up.
a guy who put 3 seconds of your video on?
Yeah, he clipped that part where you just outed the video and repeated what the developer said and said it was what you said. All right,
And you know, Mike will be on this show when we get a chance to get him on here. Available. He said
he said in the chat like several weeks ago that he wanted to come back on the next week, but something popped up. So he does want to come on. Last time I checked, we do have some other people that are definitely coming on, and it's only going to get bigger from here.
I'm gonna say one more thing. The people that say, you know, they're listening to me. I was the one who's honest and said that Microsoft needed to do better. It's like they're not listening to the guys
We've been
who are
saying that for
whining
years.
and complaining and insulting people and being melodramatic.
Exactly.
They're listening to the real fans that are respectfully asking and giving feedback and have a good head on their shoulders. Like, they're listening to customers. They're not listening to drama queens. So
Exactly.
So
if
we
you wanna
actually
thank-
know that they mute half these guys that even talk
Yeah.
anyway. So
yeah.
Well, when you mute somebody that puts up a meme of you and calls the Philness and they make fun of you and jokes and stuff like that, why would you even, entertain that stuff? And then they're going to say that they've always pushed that. The narrative changed all around on Xbox. Every narrative that's been put up has been freaking slapped down by Phil and Xbox every which way. So I think the AAA narrative, I'm confident in that they're gonna push out enough of AAAs, especially if they do a little creative thinking, like give Gears IP a rest and have a new IP Coalition Works. They like you said, you have 6-7 AAA studios there, and they're not gonna make AA games. So I think what Mike really refers to is that I think that.
They're going to make AA games too.
Yeah, they have
well,
studios.
he's talking about certain studios will not make AA games. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
no,
Well,
I don't believe that at all. I think some of them will. They'll just have little teams making AA games here and there.
Hey,
just
Z
like
Black Rider says people on the reset era, of course, he's lying fucks. That's all they do for the most part. Said that Tim Dog blocked Mikey Bar.
Oh.
What the heck? Did these idiots not know how much that we all talk to Mikey Bar?
Me and Mike are friends. I mean, me and Mike, we talked
but-
about people saying that. So
But
Are
way
you
people
friends,
have
Tim?
spun this
I
as
would
a
no,
video.
guys. I was in LA with my wife for E3, and we were walking down the street, and I look over in this outdoor restaurant, and there's Tim having dinner with Ibarra, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Hey, shout out to Southbound 110 in the chat as well.
It's just so weird that how some of these people have spun the narrative here and spun what Ibarra was even saying and trying to implicate some of us within this stuff. It's just
Even though
weird
we
to-
agreed.
But I
Yeah.
agree. I agree with what I think that
I do too.
Microsoft does need to concentrate on AAA titles.
We all agree with them. That's the
Once
point.
once you have the AAA titles, and this is a norm with Microsoft's game studios, no one's going to care that you're releasing some AA titles as long as they're good. People will be like, okay, that's fine. It's a cool little game. It's the fact that there's not enough AAAs. So of course you can't really be pumping out fucking AA titles when we need AAAs. I
already
think
know
Microsoft
there
got
are
the message,
people-
man.
There are
already know
people
they're
out
there.
there. There are people out there that truly believe that Microsoft somehow will never release another AAA again. It's stupid. It's that
Stupid.
bad with some people.
They just released their biggest Gears of War all time. Matthew Ismar, shout out to you, buddy. Thanks for the $5 super chat as
Dealer,
well.
it's Gears now. It's not Gears of War. Remember they cut the of War because it's
No,
too
and there's no
violent.
curb stomping, and there's
It's
no
too violent.
shit,
This
yeah.
show is even. this show has even said we know the AAAs are coming. We want to see them first. Like Microsoft should put those first to get that face forward of AAA before they show smaller games.
That's why that's what I said on Boom Show today. Like, I don't mind the smaller games, and every time you say anything because you didn't say the opposite, people act like you are saying you're not saying the opposite well, or you are saying the opposite even though you don't. You get what I'm saying? They make assumptions because you don't have 500 years to go back and make sure none of them can misinterpret what you said. In reality, we're focused on the AAA game thing because, as we've said for years, literally years on this show, since Gears 4, there really hasn't been a big AAA blockbuster come out from Xbox. We're not talking about Forza. We're not talking about fucking racing games. We have been talking about this since the beginning of RDX. That's why we started the show. Real deal Xbox. Because motherfuckers is damage control and everything. So, again, if you don't watch, you don't know. That's your problem. But we have been talking about that. And with Gears 5, we're like, that's great. I love the game. Had a blast with it before it came out. But at the end of the day, we need more big AAA blockbusters. And that's exactly what we've been saying. Mike has literally talked to us about it in the chat live. And we agree with Mike. That's why we commented on it. It's good to see Microsoft doubling down on power and games. That's what I said.
Yep,
because they
you
are.
did.
Facts. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. We still got 1,400 people watching live, guys. Thank you so much for what you do. Hit that like button if you haven't. Share this out. Subscribe, man. All that good stuff. We do appreciate it. IO Interactive, by the way, impressed with ray tracing on PS5, apparently, which is awesome. Good to hear. They have been pretty sparse in the details of that. It was kind of odd that Cerny didn't really go into any detail on that at launch, but he had since come out and confirmed hardware. Hitman developer.
Oh, yeah.
What?
This is an Xbox centric show. Are you really giving praise, dealer? You never do that. We never do that.
Oh, never ever. It's almost like we don't watch our own show. And again, IO saying that kind of. Now, this is a kind of interesting rumor that was going around from a guy that had leaked a few things, including the fact that Death Stranding was coming to PC quite some time ago, and some others. He's saying that PS5 will not have any games at launch, and that Microsoft will actually have more. And I don't buy it. I don't think Rand doesn't buy it either.
Right. Rand did a good video on this. Yeah.
What is your well? I guess I could start with Zalker because he's over there eating his toenails again.
My toenails.
Oh, Zalker, are you alive? All right, Zalker's kicked off. We need a new panel member.
Rand, get Rand on here. Get Rand.
Zalker!
Rand.
Zalker! He's the new most talented. Tim Dog, give us your take. No, PS5 will not have any games at launch.
I've kind of talked about this on my Twitter. I think Xbox is kind of stacked in this regard. If you think about that, they're going to have Halo Infinite, Forza possibly.
Halo.
Did you say they're stacked? Is that what you said?
Xbox is stacked.
How? Well, you know they're going to be sparse next year.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like the bigger games, especially.
Well,
yeah, it's all smaller games.
I'm talking about the launch of the new next generation consoles.
For
Xbox is going to have Halo Infinite, possibly Forza. Those are two AAAs. They're going to have Flight Simulator, which is going to be ported from PC.
Amazing.
They're going to have
when does that come out, by the way, on PC?
I think it's for the middle of next year. But it's possible.
You think it'll be out in 6 months or less?
I think it's possible, or these are possibilities. You can have Gears Tactic. I think that's definitely enough time to port to the next generation. And then, that's a bunch of games right there. Now, Sony, you're going to have Godfall, which is a timed exclusive. I don't think you're going to get Horizon or any of their big AAAs. I don't think they're going to be ready. So I do think that when you compare both of them, Xbox is going to be in a much better position at launch.
I think PlayStation are heavily leveraging third party, and I think Microsoft might try to do the same thing.
Yeah, they have zero first party.
Every launch is the same thing. Every launch for every single fucking generation, we got like 2, maybe for lucky 3 exclusives, and the rest are fucking multiplats. Like, what do people think we're going to get at launch? Like, how many exclusives do they expect?
With Sony, it's been like that since the PlayStation 4, especially. They had nothing at launch, and it's going to be the same way again. There's no first party at launch of PS5, not that we know of it.
Yeah, I think that we know of keywords.
To be honest with you, I think one game I could pretty much guarantee, well, somewhat guarantee, or speculate at least, whatever, speculate on is Gran Turismo, because Gran Turismo, we know they've been working on that for a while, and they've been working on the ray tracing on that for a while. So I think that'll be one of their showcase titles for the PlayStation 5. I think we can pretty much bank on Gran Turismo.
A new one or the PS4 version just done up with the 5?
A new one. Well, you know what? It'll be an evolution of that one.
Complete with vacuum cleaner sounds, right?
Colt just texted me. I'm back, by the way. Sorry.
Are you a
family
little
stopped
fuck
by.
boy? Where'd you go?
No, family. It's New Year's Eve, man. Family stopped by, and they're still here. But I told them I was like, I'll be back in.
Throw
20
rocks at them until they go away. And basically, I want your take on PlayStation having no games, quote unquote, which, as I've said, I don't agree with.
I don't agree with that either. I think they'll have.
I am counting
at
third
launch.
parties in that as well, by the way.
Well, I mean, third party, if they have third party deals like Godfall, whatever the hell that game is, and all that stuff. I mean, I get it, but I think they'll have something they have to, right? Like launching without games, like you can't do what you did with the PS4 Pro. I don't think
they didn't do it with the PS4.
I'm joking.
PS4 was
he's not joking. PS4 Pro didn't have anything to launch with.
The
Well,
indies,
that
the
was
indie
another
station with the
PS4,
PS4. I remember.
Well, Zocker, they got mad that the Xbox One X didn't have a launch title.
But they
I know,
didn't give a
but
shit if the Pro didn't.
Now
I know, but I
could
think
be wrong.
I think they'll talk about something. I think they'll use Ghost of Tsushima as kind of like a thing that showcases the PS5 also. I think that it's going to run on the PS4 and PS4 Pro, but I think it's going to be.
They can't do that. When does Ghost of Tsushima
I mean, they
come
can do
out?
whatever they want. They're Sony, dude.
Cold.
No,
they are
Cold.
gonna-
When the
they're gonna
PS4
push
launched, they
Tsushima,
hyped Resogun,
Last
and
of
it
Us 2
worked.
as well.
It worked with
Their fan
Resogun.
base basically fell for it. Yeah.
You think they're going to charge for these upgraded games, or are we just going to get
No.
like, hey, you've got better hardware, here's your better version of the game?
No, I'm told
now.
I'm told 100% that there's a mandate that you are not allowed to charge for patches for next gen consoles.
Hell yeah, because like my God, that would be a Sony thing and a Nintendo thing to do. Whereas Microsoft, I do not expect that at all. We're just going to have, if like you have a game today and it's getting patched for the new Series X, that's just going to come like the Xbox X enhanced games do today.
I think their launch will look something like this: Gran Turismo. Come play The Last of Us 2 on the PlayStation 5, see the improvements. Play Ghost of Tsushima on the PlayStation 5, see the improvements. I think they're going to push those two games definitely. I don't know. I can't think
but
of
those
any
games
other
are going to be
I think
old.
they'll have
a month
Horizon.
after.
They'll be
a
like
month
6
after.
months old though. To be fair,
I
They'll be
think
like-
they'll have
a month
Horizon
old
Zero
is
Dawn.
old though.
I think they'll have Horizon Zero Dawn
So
too. But I
point
think
blank,
it's not
Zucker,
gonna
what do
be
you think they're
Yeah,
launching?
that's a
What do you
good
think they're
point.
launching with that's new from them and third parties? How much do you think they'll have? That's what this guy is saying is that they won't
two
have
titles.
anything.
I think they'll have two.
I think
two
they'll have.
first-party
I think they'll
titles.
have 3 titles, and I think Horizon Zero Dawn will be early 2021, like like a few months right after, kind of like in February maybe.
Zocker,
That's
they
what I
could be.
think.
It's been 3.5 years by then. They could have it ready for the launch of the PS5.
I mean,
they
that's
could
okay.
just
He's,
let
enti-
it
he's
give it the
entitled to his
money.
opinion, you know. Shit.
Horizon
Uh,
Zero Dawn, Gran Turismo. I'm calling.
Gran Turismo, but they
Oh.
have confirmed they have patched GT Sport for the PS5. Why would they do that and launch
Oh,
with a
and-
new one?
And
Hold on.
MLB the show. Oh, never mind.
You can't enhance a game a month after, let alone 6 months, because you know that. Remember when we played Jedi Fallen Order? Like, think about that game getting a patch a month later. You were already long done with that game.
Well,
It
I mean,
doesn't
it's
matter.
different though with new. I mean, we
different.
saw it with the X. We went back and played all these old fucking games because it got
Yeah.
patched.
Well, yeah. To be fair, the Last of Us, I went and got it. Fuck, charge me.
Okay, so
I got it again for the PlayStation 4 just because it looks better and the
And
frames
you
were
paid
better.
full.
It
You
just
paid money
fucking
for that
looked
shit.
amazing.
You're right. It wasn't even a patch.
Okay.
It was real
Yeah,
money.
people went
Yeah.
back and bought God of War 3. Like people.
I
fucking-
stand corrected. I stand corrected. When the PS4 dropped, they only dropped with Flower, Killzone, Shadowfall, Knack, and Resogun, and
Yeah.
Sound Shapes.
That shit's fire.
Holy smokes!
When did Second Son come out?
shout out to
It was
Megatron
the
One in the
spring.
chat as well. Say what?
Infamous Second Son was like the spring. It was not long after the launch, but it was not a launch title.
'Cause that's
No,
what I
it
think. Like, I think launch titles are cool. I think Xbox is gonna have the best and biggest launch title in Halo. Like, I'm sorry, people, Halo's a fucking massive game, and it sells like crazy. I think that's smart that they're launching with it. I just don't think a lot of people. I don't think they've launched with it on like day and date. It's usually a few months later, and they consider that like a launch title, right?
They haven't. Yeah, they haven't launched with Halo in a long time.
Like, how long was it when Titanfall launched with the Xbox One? It was like
It didn't. It was a few months later.
March.
It was
yeah,
like
a few
March
months later.
or
But like
or
but that's
February.
like, to me, that's considered like a launch title because it's a few months later, right? Like that's the way I look at it, at least. I
Launch
don't
window
need it.
title.
No,
Yeah, yeah, like-
that is Mike Ybarra. If he's in the chat, he's a mod on this channel. So if you see Mike Ybarra, that's his name, and I'll have a wrench next to his name. That's the real Mike Ybarra. Anyone other than that, that is not Mike Ybarra. Which I modded him when he was on the show. So that quick in the chat, no, that is not Mike Ybarra. Just so people know. So yeah, we gotta move the fuck on.
Let's do it.
Actually, what time is it? Yeah, it's getting kind of up there. Zucker, let's do this, right? And we've talked about a lot this show, and it's been all over the place because there's been a lot of information, and everything feeds into itself, including the fact that Digital Foundry think that they are going to integrate the SSD right into the GPU, essentially, or the APU of these new consoles, and that's how you're going to get all these crazy, insane load times using GPU paging. You'll get the ability to instantaneously pause and resume different games, and they'll get blah, blah, blah. You know the story. Check out my last video if you want to know all about that. But essentially, everything I've been talking about in terms of load times and all this stuff, they have pretty much cracked the nut on that one, I think. And I've been speculating on how they would do this, and I think that's actually the case. And it's some next level stuff. So if you haven't seen it, check out my last video. Really interesting stuff, doing new things with not only console hardware, but gaming hardware in general. Very, very, very interesting stuff. Say what?
I said to make sure you hit that dislike button.
Yeah, on Zucker's video, hit the dislike button.
Damn
so,
it.
Again, Phil Spencer, basically, Tim went over all that. He revealed a bunch of information about Microsoft and doubled down on all that stuff. Very interesting stuff. The Polish studio stuff, Tim, I'll ask you right now if you want to talk about what you know, what we've talked about behind the scenes or not. You don't have to, but, it's up to you. Tim's dead. Okay. So we're not going to talk about that.
I'll go into it.
No, we're not going to go into it because we don't. Well, you might not know, actually. I'm talking about something very specific that hasn't really been put out there, and we don't know what Microsoft are doing there. But
I don't know shit.
When it comes to the Polish studio stuff, yeah, that's a little bit older, and that's what I want you to go over, that video you did.
Mm-hmm.
So before we do that, we'll tell everybody who joined us, thank you so much for what you guys do. We over almost 1,500 people tonight. Hit that like button if you haven't. Share this out. We do appreciate it. You guys are fucking awesome. I appreciate all the new channel members, all the new patrons, all that stuff. Again, we couldn't ask for a better audience for the show, and we're not PG or anything like that. We're definitely not like a corporate show or anything, but you guys stick around and you rock out with us and stuff like that, so we do appreciate it. Zucker, new studios, they are continuing to build these. The rumor was, what was it, hashtag 2020 by 2020. They want more studios. Yeah. They've said they're not done. What was this regarding? What was this regarding a studio over there in what was it, Poland or in that region of the world?
Poland. Well, yeah, the article touched on like they want a Asian-based studio, like in Japan or wherever the hell, like over there. But they also talked about that this director, I forgot his name. It was like a director talked about in a podcast or something, like, or on an interview that Microsoft was interviewing and talking to a shit ton of developers. Like he was like, I know one for sure. He's like, probably others and multiple others. And so everybody was making articles about the Polish developers out there. And of course, there's CD Projekt Red, which it's probably not happening, people.
What else we got? 4A and Techland.
Well, they got Techland, the people that make Dying Light 2. And then they brought up one, which has a relationship with Xbox, which is People Can Fly. And that's the people that made Gears of War Judgment. And so Bulletstorm, exactly. So those guys apparently that's what everybody thinks they're targeting, because they already have a relationship. They're not a public traded company, and they're a pretty damn big studio.
What about 4A, the makers of Metro? They got a relationship with
I don't
Xbox
think they're
as well.
In Poland. I don't think they're in Poland.
Oh, it's not Poland?
I thought they were in.
It's over there somewhere. It's
I think
one of the. It's not actually Russia. It's one of the. Kazan's, one of those.
Yeah, something. They're over there, but they're not in Poland.
Something like that.
Yeah. But anyways, so that's I made a video about that, talking about like each developer and everything like that. There's obviously other small ones that they can target, but somebody was in the article, they're saying if my money is on anything, it's on People Can Fly. And that's the people that, again, that made Bulletstorm and Gears of War Judgment, because they're a 200+ person studio. They make AAA games. We've all, like everybody in this podcast and a lot of people in the chat, they've talked about that Xbox needs a couple more AAA studios. And I think this one would be a good one. It'd be way cheaper than CD Projekt Red or Techland. And they have a lot
They're
of talent
talented
there. they're talented, and you can build upon that. And that's what Xbox has done. They've gone to a lot of smaller developers and built them up from the inside. They gave them a budget, money, and have them hire different developers, have them like expand, and that's what they can do with this team. And I think it's hopefully it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But that's the rumors going on.
Greg E3 Egg, by the way, says all the SSD talk. Am I the only one who like reading the tips and trick in the load time screen? If you noticed, a lot of loading screens, they don't load and then shoot you right into the game. Sometimes you got to hit the A button to say, "Hey, I want to go." Right. So maybe they'll do that for those of you like reading the tips and tricks and stuff like that. Maybe Tryhard Fan earlier was talking about Batman Arkham Asylum loading extremely quicker than the PC. Yeah, we're talking about brand new games, brother. Games that take, like I said, on a 970 Pro would take 15 to 25 seconds. What I was told behind the scenes was that it would be more like 3 to 5 seconds on the next consoles, and that's all due to the way the SSD is mounted, the bandwidth involved in the system, all that stuff. So I covered this weeks and weeks ago now. So it's interesting stuff, man. Really cool.
PC?
Yeah, if that's true, that's way faster. I tested it in real time on my PC, and then I basically simulated what the next-gen console speeds were. And that was based off of dev kit stuff, which, of course, we can compare now that they are both using SSDs. It's not like with the X1X where that had an SSD in the dev kit form, but the retail had a 5,400 RPM drive with boosted bandwidth, 60 megabytes per second. That's not the case anymore. They are sharing the same hard drive, retail, and dev kit, all that stuff. So very, very interesting. Also, not only did Bill Spencer talking about virtually eliminating load times, but I also covered Jason Ronald's interview where he confirmed that Xbox Series X can do these things. It is a thing. It is real, and it already does it. And Aaron Greenberg also talked about instantaneously loading, instant resume, getting rid of load screens we have today. And also, I got to give a shout out to Gene, Samuel, Andre, new channel member. Thank you so much, brother. I do appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel, the content, and more. You guys are awesome. But that was our final topic. What was you going to say, Zara?
Somebody in the chat said that Microsoft is not going to buy CD Projekt Red because they don't make enough games. Like in a time.
We're not saying that they would buy CD Projekt Red.
We're not saying that they would buy
There's
CD
a different
Projekt
chunk
Red.
of information that we heard about today behind the scenes that I wasn't sure if we were okay to talk about. That's why I was trying to clear it with Tim, but Tim died. So
I was gonna say, CD Projekt also owns GOG Gaming, which is a reputable game store that a lot of people have no problems using. So Microsoft, if they were looking for that, could also be grabbing more than just a game development company. They get a store to sell games in that isn't a mockery like the Windows Store.
Well, Windows Store's gotten a lot better. I'll say that.
Yeah,
It has.
I'll say that. By the way, we do again, almost 1,500 people on New Year's Eve. Thank you guys so much for rocking out with us. You guys are awesome. Be safe out there, all right? Don't get drunk and go out there and trip over some rocks, hit your head on a rock and die. Be careful. It's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? So that comes from all of us. Don't hit your head on a rock and die. You can quote
Don't
us.
buy an Xbox One.
Don't buy an Xbox One S. There's no games.
Yeah.
There's no games on that motherfucker.
There's no games and stuff.
What in the fuck is happening?
That's how they talk.
God damn it.
Pretty sure that's how they talk. The Xbox has our games.
That's how they talk. And they're typing, they're like smashing the screen on their phone. Xbox has no games.
There's no games on this bitch.
It's so funny because people are like, why would you buy an Xbox Series X when you could just build a
Just build a $3,000 PC. Anyway, we're just being idiots. But you know what? We know it's dumb. We know it could come off corny. But at the end of the day, it's better than taking yourself too seriously, right? So we're just having some fun. Hopefully you guys had some fun. Thanks for joining us. We're gonna do some outros. Hopefully Tim Dog's okay and didn't hit his head on a rock and die. And
hold on, he just texted me. He said, "Sorry, Colt. I just tripped on a rock and hit my head and almost died." Well, there you go.
He didn't die, so that's good. But we're going to do some outros. Shady, you got anything you want to say on the final subject of studios and what you kind of plan on seeing there? Maybe hopefully seeing.
At the CES, you mean?
No, studios.
Oh, studios.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, let's go big and just say if they were to pick up something on the caliber of CD Projekt Red, that would just be, I don't know, like the community would have a heart attack as a whole. It would be Xbox guys so hyped they're falling over dead, and then Sony dudes just calling it a day, man, choking themselves out with their own sweat socks. Let's go big and just say that would be nuts. But realistically, Techland is incredible. They make amazing games. I love Dying Light. The next one looks fantastic. If it was something like that, that would certainly fit the AAA dev studio mold that they need another one of those. There's a lot of AA guys that are maybe looking to grow, but let's bring in one that's already a big, bad, ripped badass of a dev studio. And Techland is one of those. So one of those two big ones, man, and neither will come cheap, but Microsoft has the quiche to go around. So go big, man. Go big.
Go big, and that's what they need, and that's something we've also said that we know some at Xbox think as well. Microsoft should acquire a bigger studio capable of putting out something like that, or something a bit bigger.
Like they spent $2.6 billion on Minecraft. I mean, Minecraft was huge, obviously, and it made the money back.
Fucking world.
That's right, it is. It's massive. But if they're going to throw around crazy bank like that, make another acquisition that's just staggering, something like that, where it's going to be a success. And CD Projekt Red is going to deliver quality titles. So if you were to pick them up and it cost you, $3, $4, $5 billion, they have that kind of money. And my God, the games that studio would produce over the next couple of gens would be staggering.
Why are people telling me that they can't buy CD Projekt? No one said they're buying CD Projekt.
No, not at all. This is all dreams.
Jesus,
people.
this is what I'm talking about, where if you don't clarify the opposite, people assume you're saying the opposite.
That's right. It's only being brought up because that studio currently resides in Poland, which is the country that apparently Xbox is currently in looking. That's it. That's all. Fuck.
Yeah, I know, right? There you go.
And Microsoft
explained graciously by association.
Yeah, we're not saying they are.
You want me to really fuck it up? Corey Barlow on Twitter is basically saying he's going to work for Microsoft soon.
He did. He quit PlayStation. I mean, that's why I took it.
That's what I heard.
Fuck Sony.
Yeah, fuck it. Clip that and share it, bitches.
What did he say, Zocker?
What?
What did he say?
He said
he loves
Xbox
all games
for
and
life.
making all games.
He said Xbox for life. He tagged Mike Ybarra, Aaron Greenberg, Phil Spencer, Major Nelson, all of them, Grandborg.
Posted a picture of Kratos with an Xbox beanie on.
No, he posted a picture of some Xbox pancakes. Suicide King in the super chat says, great show, guys. Have a happy new year. Also, Tim. Tim, actually, I forgot. Tim said he could be here for like an hour 45, and it has been that long, so that's why he's gone. Tim, he said also, Tim just texted me and said that it was cool to talk to about the secret stuff. Yeah. Tim's got some really good information as well. We know several people with great information, by the way.
Yeah, Tim. Somebody just said in the chat, like, what does Tim even know?
It's like, what do you not be paying attention? Like, it's not our fault you're misinformed.
He knows your mama.
D-Batch.
Why you gotta bring
most talented?
You gotta bring people's moms into it, man. Come on.
Again.
Bringing up old wounds.
It's all about the grandmas, apparently. But we gotta head out of here, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Big show, 1,500 people watching live. Let's try to pass 700. I'm dying in real time right now.
Yeah.
So
he's booting down.
Yeah, share this out for us. Help us out, guys. We do appreciate it so much. Cold Eastwood, thank you for joining us once again. One of the only original panel members left. How have you been? What have you been playing? And where can people find you?
I've been really well. I've been
really
playing all kinds of weird stuff. You can find me at Colt Eastwood at Twitter and YouTube, and it's going to be a really great year next year. I can't wait.
You mean?
But thanks for coming out tonight, guys.
It's this year in some places. Yeah, this year. This is our year.
I mean, it's 7:00 where I am, so I've got a stretch until they drop the ball, whatever you call it. Yeah.
Fonzarelli, brother, how have you been? What have you been playing? Where can people find you, man?
Hey, doing great. And, now that I'm thinking about it, you mentioned that Colt is one of the, only guys here that's an original panel member. I myself am included in that. And
I guess we'll count it, even though you had to go for a little while.
Yeah, I was gone for a few months, but I came back. But I was here from the start. And the thing is, I just look forward to 2020. And I think, you guys have been awesome. RDX has been great. Yes, we've lost a couple of great panel members in the past. Luke is still out there. Shout out to her. You guys, though, are amazing. I really like each and every one of you. Love spending this time every week. And let's just continue this into 2020. Have a great time. And the chat is just beautiful, wonderful. Loving everything that's going on in the chat tonight. Lots of debates, friendly debates and stuff. Really cool stuff going on. And I just appreciate the hell out of this show. So
yeah, it's been awesome because you are one of the original panel members, and it's I knew that I wanted you on the show from the very beginning. Great guy, great friend. But the very first episode, I'm sure you guys remember, we had like 500 something people watching, and to
And
see where
all
the
1,000 people,
shows
go
come.
sub to Fonz, please.
Yes, go sub to Fonzarelli at the Grounded Gamer. He can link that in the chat. Please do so. But you know, Fonz is of course got to publicly promise to consistently release videos first.
I
Even
will
if it
try
means
to
you never
release more
sleep.
videos more often.
If you have to, lower production value and just get your voice out there. Okay, just do what you got to do to keep putting out videos.
Get your box.
Get your box out, you know.
Get your
But
box out.
again, you know, the 500 people the first show I do remember, and just to see the show continue to grow over the past 2 years is really cool. And the reception, everyone, you know, it's really awesome, man.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, it's a
been
great
freaking
community.
awesome.
Great community. And D-Batch was one of the earliest replacements. I knew once we got a hold, had a free slot because someone had to leave because things changed in their life. You know, it happens. D-Batch was one of the first people I wanted to have on. Good brother of mine. We've been talking for years, doing solo shows, you know, way back. D, what have you been playing? When did you become the most talented, and where can people find you?
Actually, I'm a fraud. I haven't been playing anything lately, man.
Oh,
I just been tied up, kind of building PCs this holiday season. I think I'm gonna get into something after midnight tonight. You guys can catch me on Twitter at D_batch, of course, at YouTube at DBatch. I dropped a video today. PC guys need to stop trolling console guys because next generation, everyone is going to benefit from it. Was a great show. Happy New Year to the panel. Happy New Year to everybody listening at home. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. There's a thing called Uber now. There's fucking rideshare. Be smart, and Happy New Year, guys.
and don't fall and hit your head on a rock and die. So Shady, man, thanks for coming on and guesting, brother. It's good to have you back on the final show of the year, man. Thank you so much. Where can people find you? What have you been playing? And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Oh, it was a good time, dealer. Thanks for the invite. You know, sitting here with a couple of original panel members, a couple of A, first round draft pick panel member, and D. You got some
And then
some
Shady
next gen
himself
panel members
was a
with
panel member
Zocker.
for a short
And then
time.
there's me. And exactly, former panel member. I was here for 10 months. It was great then. It's great now. I love coming back and talking games with you guys. It's good times, man. I like the fact that it's just not bullshit around here. You guys basically tell it how it is. You're not here to troll and just make stuff up for clicks. I appreciate that. I know your audience certainly does. You've grown tremendously in the last year. It's awesome to see. I'm glad that I can come back and take part in it from here to there. So I appreciate that, man. The multiplayer bugs got me big, dude. It's had me big this last year. I'm playing like Call of Duty, Battlefield 5. I'm playing the new content in Star Wars. I'm playing Gears of War, Anthem dailies to get that in-game coin for my cosmetics.
Damn,
man.
that
So
game
that's
has
got me,
still got you, Anthem?
bro, 900
Oh.
hours plus. It's disgusting.
Oh,
But
wow.
I turn it on once a day for an hour, maybe two, and that's what I do. I like that, and then I go and kill guys online. But man, there's a stack of single-player backlog games that I got to get to because I hear their quality. But yeah, man, I am so shady. You can find me on Twitter at the Sesh Empire. That's one word. Anyone going out tonight to say goodbye to the decade in a big way? Be safe out there, man. You want to live to see the new decade come in, for the love of God. Don't hurt yourself.
At least live long
Yeah,
enough to see
that
Series
too.
X blow people's minds.
Jesus, like just take care of yourselves and those with you. You don't want to hurt yourself, and my God, you don't want to hurt others. Be safe, everybody, and of course, happy gaming. I'll talk to you all soon. Take it easy.
Hey, the South, man. If you want to come on, man, just hit me up. We'll have you on the show. It'd be great to have you back on. As long as you got a good damn mic. But again, yeah, just DM me, Self. I'll figure that out. We've also got Zalker, brother. How have you been? You're the newest member of the show, right? And it's great to have you on here, my little Padawan in training here. Thank you for being a great guy and never playing. And no, I mean playing some games. And he said, "I'll stab you." And what have you been playing? Where can people find you, man?
I've been playing Witcher 3, actually. I jumped back into that, started it all over. I wanted to start and play it. It's a fucking great game. On
Where are you
Witcher
at?
contract currently. I'm in the regular Skiliath, whatever it's called, the first open world hub part. So I've been doing everything, going to every like little question mark and doing all that.
White Orchard, the little training ground.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So that place, and then
He's over there punching cows for money.
yeah, Roach flying off a cliff. So I'm like, what the fuck? No, just having fun doing that and playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege with family members and like my cousin and my good friends and stuff. So that's been fun. But yeah, you guys can find me at Zalker87 on Twitter, Zalker87 on Mixer, Zalker87 on YouTube. And I'd say that I've only been on here for, I think, a year. I think last December is when I became official on RDX. And I have to say, guys, 2019 has been one of the best years, honestly, for me personally. Like, glad I met everybody in the chat. Glad I have you guys as friends. You know, Dealer, Colt, D, everybody, Shady, Fonz, Tim, everybody, Rand Outdoor. You know, everybody, like everybody on here. You guys, it's been like, and I truly mean it, it's been like a fucking family here, and very grateful to be a part of this. And sure, growing in views is all cool and stuff, and it's fun, but honestly, just knowing these people, talking to people, interacting with everybody here has just been
It's a community,
that much
man.
better.
Yeah,
It's a fucking awesome community, very tight knit. We have a lot of fun, even with some of these PlayStation people. Like, yeah, they give a shit, but you know, they're funny at sometimes, right? They have a good laugh about it. And that's what it's all about. You know, we're all connected through gaming, and 2020 is going to be even fucking better for everyone here, man. We're going to have a lot of fun, and you know, hopefully everybody sticks around and we just have an even better time and grow together and just have a good time. That's what I want.
Yep.
So yeah, and be safe and happy new year, everybody.
Zucker, man, just remember that no matter what, man, it all comes down to not tripping over a rock, hitting your head on a rock, and dying tonight. All right, so
I know,
be
right?
safe out there.
This message is brought to you by Saltiest Tears.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out Fonz's last video, check it out. We have been live for a little while now. I am dying right now. I'm starving. So thanks again.
Yeah.
It's perfect timing. It's about exactly 2 hours. It's funny. Thank you guys for joining us once again. Hit that like button, share it out, do what you do. We appreciate it. You make us what we are, and we are out.
We're out.
Nice.
Oh, good.